Chapter 502. Gao Ran, wow, 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 wow. Zhu Lingling, hi, 8 million yuan? Huasiqian spent a lot of money? Huamin, so it really wasn't a bug? Huamin asked worriedly. No, it seems like it's just a birthday present. I was overthinking it. Then, Qin Chu handed the bracelet to Huamin. Huamin felt a little awkward. She picked up the bracelet and was about to walk out. I'm going to find him and give it back to him. Since he gave it to you, just accept it. Qin Chu was very calm. You're not mad? Huamin looked at him worriedly. Why would I be mad? He gave the whole corporation to you. Qin Chu smiled. He knew all too well how Huasiqian felt about Huamin. However, he didn't want to say too much. He didn't want to burden Huamin, so he sat down with his arm around her shoulders and comforted her. Yeah, since he gave it to you, you should keep it. If you don't want to wear it, you can give it to your mom. It'll be a waste if you don't want it. After all, Huasiqian spends a lot of money on girls every year. Zhu Lingling tried to persuade her. Huamin helplessly looked at the 8 million yuan bracelet. She didn't know what to say. She thought it was a stuffed animal, so she accepted it without any hesitation. Who knew that Huasiqian was hiding something so expensive in his stomach? Huasiqian was such a psycho. Huasiqian's gift gave everyone a false alarm, so they were no longer in the mood to continue playing. Everyone left Seductive Fox. Before they left, Rick came out and said something to Qin Chu. Huamian finally understood why Qin Chu had found out about her last time she was in danger. The boss here was friends with Qin Chu. It seemed like her guess was right. If Su Yu hadn't helped her last time, Rick would have been the one to help her. If Qin Chu hadn't helped her, Rick would still have helped her get rid of the flies that came to bother her. Inside the presidential suite of a certain hotel, Huasiqian looked down at the foreign woman underneath him. He was originally in high spirits, but suddenly he lost his desire. He got off her. What's wrong? What? The foreign woman was confused. She looked at Huasiqian. Oh, I'm tired. Okay, remember to call me. After the girl finished speaking in Chinese that was not very standard, she got dressed and left. Huasiqian's left. Was Hua, and Hua. As expected, Huamin and the others arrived. He knew that Qin Chu had an unusual relationship with the boss of Seductive Fox. Therefore, he had been waiting there for a long time. Finally, he ran into Huamin. Huamian was happy that he gave Huamian the gift, but now he felt conflicted. Huasiqian took out a cigarette and lit it. Then he walked to the window with a white towel wrapped around his upper body. As he looked at the beautiful night sky, he suddenly thought of a scene from 7 years ago. Huamin was wearing a blue striped dress. Her hair was in a ponytail as she stood in front of a large glass window. She was seriously looking at a stuffed animal. It was a koala or a koala bear. Her eyes were so gentle. She even reached out to touch the koala. Even though she knew it was fake, she was still very interested. After that, he never saw any stuffed animals around Huamin. She didn't like all the dogs and pigs that girls liked. Even the most popular animals on the internet, Ali and Beauty Bunny, she didn't like them. She liked koalas that looked silly and cute. He was the only one who knew this secret. He bought the half-meter-tall koala at a toy store a long time ago. He bought the jade bracelet at an auction last week. It was a birthday present for her. Huasiqian always had an image in his mind. It was of Huamin wearing a white cheongsam and a white jade bracelet. Huamin had a very good temperament. She had a classic charm and delicate features. She gave off an aura that could only be felt and not described. Unfortunately, Huamin didn't like cheongsams and had never worn one. Huasiqian gave her a jade bracelet in hopes that one day he could see her wearing a cheongsam and wearing it. Then she would amaze time, and amaze him. The smoke from the cigarette floated in the air. Huasiqian's lips curled up slightly. Mian, how much longer do I have to wait for you? On the way back, Huamian sneezed at Chu. What's wrong? Did you catch a cold? Qin Chu immediately picked up the jacket beside him and covered Huamin's legs with it. Chapter 503. I don't think so. It's fine. I have a good physique. Huamin smiled. After the two of them went home, Huamin took a shower, exhausted. Then, she rushed out and lay down on the bed. Her hair was still wet. Honey, get up. Why? Your hair is still wet. It's fine, it'll be dry tomorrow. Chinchu, no, you'll catch a cold. Regardless of whether Huamin was willing or not, Chinchu still pulled her out of bed. Then, he took out a hairdryer and slowly dried Huamin's hair. Honey, are you treating me like a daughter? Huamin asked with a smile. I don't have a daughter as willful as you. Don't call me willful. It's my birthday today, and it's not even past midnight yet, so I'm the biggest. Okay, you're the biggest, except for your breasts. Chinchu mumbled quietly. What did you say? Huamin turned around fiercely. I said, honey, you're the biggest, and your breasts are so big. You're smart. Huamin smiled and turned around. She was very happy with her birthday, and the gifts she received from everyone were very special. Other than the handcuffs from Gao Ran, everything else was to her liking. However, she was a bit conflicted about the bullet shell from Suyu, because Suyu's promise was too precious to her. It couldn't be measured with money. The next morning, Huamin was working the night shift, so she didn't have much to do during the day. After receiving a call from Hua Zhenghai, she went straight to the Hua Corporation. During the board meeting, Hua Zhenghai officially introduced Huamin to the Hua Corporation. The board members all knew that she was Hua Zhenghai's illegitimate daughter, so they all agreed. Then, Hua Zhenghai gave 8% of the company's shares to Huamin, but she didn't have the right to control it. This was a premeditated plan, so Huamin didn't find it strange. Hua Zhenghai just wanted to use her as a puppet to deal with Hua Xiqian and protect Hua Si. Shun Jiani gave Huamian a look, and Huamian immediately understood. So, during the morning meeting, she said to Hua Xiqian, President Hua, I have a request. What? Hua Xiqian didn't look as carefree as he usually did. Instead, he looked very serious, which was completely unlike him. I want to ask you to transfer Manager Hua back from the Philippines. After all, our corporation is short on manpower, and it's only a small case. We don't need Manager Hua to stay there permanently, Huamin said slowly. When Shun Jiani saw this, she immediately smiled and agreed. Yeah, President Hua, I think Huamin is right. The company is very busy right now. If C comes back, he can help you. Hua Zhenghai listened quietly without saying anything. He was waiting to see Hua Xiqian's reaction. Hua Xiqian slowly turned the Hong Kong dollar in his hand, as if he was deep in thought. After a while, he looked up at Huamin and asked, if he comes back, will you take his position? Huamin was speechless. He didn't think Hua Xiqian would do this. Seeing this, Hua Zhenghai quickly said, Xiqian, your sister just came back and isn't familiar with the business. If she goes to the Philippines, she'll delay a lot of things. Don't worry, we'll talk about it later. Of course, Hua Zhenghai didn't say this to help Huamin. He was just afraid that his son wouldn't be able to come back, and he would lose his helper. Hua Xiqian glanced at Hua Zhenghai and suddenly laughed. Dad, I'm just joking with her. How could I let her go to the Philippines? Or she gets tanned. Upon hearing Hua Xiqian's words, Hua Zhenghai and Shun Jiani both let out a sigh of relief. Big brother, just let C come back. Everyone misses him. Hu Yinyin couldn't hold it in anymore. Hua Xiqian glanced at Huamin and asked, Little sister Mian, are you speaking from your heart? It's your first day back, so I'll give you face. If you want C to come back, then I'll let him come back. The hot potato was once again in Huamin's hands. Although she didn't like Hua Si, her plan had just begun. She couldn't go against Hua Zhenghai right away, so she had to at least give him some benefits first. Therefore, Huamin nodded. President Hua, please approve. Approve. Hua Xiqian waved his hand and was extremely straightforward. Shun Jiani and Hu Yinyin were immediately overjoyed. After the morning meeting at the Hua Corporation, Hua Xiqian glanced at Huamin. Come to my office for a second. Chapter 504. Huamin only wore a white t-shirt, a red windbreaker, and black pants. She didn't look very formal, but she was full of youthful energy. She didn't look like a 24-year-old girl at all. Instead, she looked like a college student. President Hua, what's up? Huamin didn't want to interact too much with Hua Xiqian, so she went straight to the point. You're on the old man's side now. Hua Xiqian asked with a smile. Yeah, didn't you see it? You're so stubborn. Okay, let's not talk about this. Did you like the koala bear from yesterday? Of course, who wouldn't like an $8 million koala bear? Huamin purposely looked up and said. Huasiqian immediately laughed out loud. What are you laughing at? I'm laughing at how direct you are. Of course, I don't like to beat around the bush. I'm not like you guys who have to be so secretive when it comes to giving me gifts. If I didn't do that, would you have accepted it? It's called scheming, understand? I understand. I've seen how scheming President Hua is. But you can't be cheated on. You're giving me such an expensive gift because you want me to help you deal with the old man, right? No. I alone am enough to deal with the old man and his people. Huasiqian shook her head. Then you? Who I give gifts to, and what I give is purely up to me. Don't feel burdened. You've managed the Hua Foundation very well. If it weren't for your strict supervision, I reckon that a lot of the funds flow would be unclear. After all, there's not much left after layers of skimming. Although I don't often ask about it, the accounts are clear at a glance. Just treat it as a reward for me. Really? If that's the case, then I won't hold back. Huamin replied. With me, you don't have to hold back, Huasiqian said. Then, she turned the globe and seemed to be deep in thought. Is there anything else? President Hua, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. Okay. After she walked out of Huasiqian's office, she was stopped by the female secretary again. Miss Hua, the president asked me to give you some skincare products developed by the company. What is it this time? Huamin was confused. It's a facial mask this time. The president said you got a tan. Huamin, subconsciously, she touched her face. Was it dark? She wasn't exposed recently. Huamin, and she and Huasiqian. Hua. Although she had returned to the Hua Corporation in name, she was only a director in name and did not participate in the internal work. And Hua, and Eshavisistuwut. She Hua in it. Charity had its benefits. Huasiqian's charity had a good reputation and made a lot of contributions to the city. The government granted a piece of land to Huasiqian and exempted them from paying taxes this year. Huasiqian was really making a big deal out of nothing. She knew that Huasiqian would never make a losing deal. In his office, Huamin was reviewing the medical records of new patients while watching TV. Suddenly, a piece of news came on. Imperial Star Entertainment recently invested in a teen idol movie, Chasing You 99 Times. The female lead was a B-list actress, Jian Tong. Huamin had a bit of an impression of this woman. She had acted in a few spy movies before. She wasn't very pretty, but she was petite and cute. She stood beside Su Yu in front of the TV. The two of them were promoting the new movie. President Su, according to the grapevine, you've been chasing after a Cinderella. What's her occupation? Can you tell us something? Which girl is so lucky to catch President Su's eye? A reporter suddenly asked. Huamin suddenly became slightly nervous. She raised her head and stared at the big screen. Chapter 505. Su Yu smiled and asked the young reporter, which news agency are you from? President Su? The young reporter was clearly shocked. Go back and tell your boss that if he dares to ask stupid questions like this again, don't blame me for bankrupting him. Yes, my bad. I'm sorry, President Su. The young reporter was so scared that she quickly backed away. Please ask questions about the company's new movie. Thank you for your cooperation. Lisa immediately ran up to protect her boss. Huamin finally let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, Su Yu didn't say anything. She was really afraid that if she was exposed, she would have to live under the spotlight and the media every day. Then, she would completely lose her freedom. After Southside was reformed, and because of the Hua Foundation's help, it received a lot of praise. With more and more patients, Huamin became busier and busier. She was the head nurse, so she didn't have to work many night shifts. However, due to the increase in patients, she had to work overtime. Although it was tiring, it was fulfilling. A few days later, on Friday night, Huamin was about to get off work after a busy day. Before she walked out, she received a call from Zhu Lingling. Lingling? Girl, hurry up. Miss, slow down. What do you mean by hurry up? Huamin was confused. I want a ticket for the Night of the Lawrence Pearl. You have to get me one. Night of the Pearl? What the hell is that? Huamin didn't know what it was, but Zhu Lingling asked for a ticket. It really made her confused. Oh my God, miss, did you come from the mountains? You don't know about it? I don't know. Huamin immediately refused. Lawrence is the big boss of Las Vegas. Last year, he custom-ordered a luxury cruise ship called the God of Gamblers. This ship cruises around the world and approaches ports at random times. They hold a 3-day party in port cities, also known as the God of Gamblers Night. Apparently, a lot of European and American singers and actors will be on the ship. Even the richest people and celebrities in the country will be there. So what does this have to do with me? Don't worry, listen to me. Lingling seemed very excited. Huamin put on her earphones as she got into the car and placed her bag on the passenger seat. Then, he drove the Audi R8 out of the Southern Recuperation Center. I just got off the plane, and I heard from a guest in the first-class cabin that the Gamble God is scheduled to land near our city at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. My goodness, that means we're going to have a luxurious dinner party here for 3 days and 3 nights. We've already sent out the invitations this year, and I heard that there aren't many. There are less than 100 invitations in our city, and all of them are from successful people. Your Mr. Chin is definitely the most important person, so I was wondering if you could ask Chin Shu to get me an invitation. I see. Huamin finally understood. Girl, please, but that's a group of men's games. Why would you go? Huamin didn't know what to say. She never liked to join in on the fun. I'm going to see my idol. You know, I really like that handsome Western celebrity. He's so bad, so rebellious, haha, he's so handsome. Zhu Lingling became more and more excited as she spoke. Okay, female pervert, I promise you, as long as Chin Shu has a way to get you an invitation, I'll get you one. That's great, I love you. Okay, I'm driving now, talk to you later. After hanging up, Huamin smiled. Lingling still liked to chase after celebrities. What was so good about Western celebrities? Her English was good, but those people had different lifestyles from her. She was really crazy because of how many international marriages she'd had failed. Huamin didn't forget that she promised Chin Shu that she would stay at the South Hill Mansion every Friday. When she parked the car in front of the mansion, a butler immediately came to open the car door for Huamin. Uncle Lee, I can do it myself. Huamin was embarrassed to see the 50-year-old man open the car door for her. A young lady, you must be tired. Uncle Lee was a butler that Chin Shu had hired from abroad. It was said that he was a very good butler. Huamin was just about to speak when she saw the Maybach slowly drive in. Chin Shu was behind her, but why didn't she see him in the rearview mirror? Chapter 506. Huamin jogged all the way to Chin Shu's car. As soon as he got out of the car, she immediately threw herself at him. She threw herself into Chin Shu's arms. Your car was in front of mine. Why didn't I see you? Do you know how to make yourself invisible? Huamin asked with a smile. Only in front of Chin Shu could she see this childish side of Huamin. Chin Shu lovingly pinched her face. I got off from another highway. I went to D-City in the afternoon and came back from there. No wonder. When Huamin got off work, she was too tired to change her clothes, so she came back in her white hospital gown. She smelled like formalin. When she threw herself at Chin Shu, the smell stained his shirt. Honey, how dedicated are you to your job? You came back with the smell of formalin. What? You don't like it? Huamin half threatened her. No, I like it a lot. That's more like it. The couple chatted and laughed as they walked into the mansion hand in hand. Uncle Lee had already prepared dinner. It was Thai style, and there was even pineapple rice that looked, smelled, and tasted great. When Huamin saw the food, her appetite was whetted. Eat slowly. Chin Shu didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he saw how she ate. Then, he thoughtfully handed her a glass of water. Huamin took a sip of water before she remembered what Zhu Lingling asked her to do. Honey, I have a favor to ask of you. Tell me about it, Chin Shu said as he elegantly ate his dinner. Ahem. There's a Knight of Lawrence's Pearl. Do you know about it? Yeah. Chin Shu nodded. Lingling said it's a 3-day, 3-night night of the God of Gamblers. She insists on going, but she heard that there are very few invitations. So, she asked me to help her get one. Do you have a way? No. Chin Shu directly refused. Huamin, how is that possible? You're the great Mr. Chin. Honey, you must have invitation, right? Huamin didn't want to make Lingling happy for nothing. Moreover, with Qin Shu's status and ability, it was impossible for him to get an invitation. Who would believe that? Qin Shu slowly put down the fork on the edge of the steak. Honey, I really don't have an invitation. How could that be? Huamin was a little disappointed, because she felt that Qin Shu's expression didn't seem to be fake. But when Huamin heard the word, but, a glimmer of hope was reignited in his heart. But I don't need an invitation. I can bring as many people as I want. Fuck, why didn't you say so earlier? You gave me a false alarm. Huamin was scared out of his wits. In the end, he realized that he didn't need an invitation because Qin Shu didn't need one at all. Face recognition. Face recognition was the proof of strength. I'm not done yet. Qin Shu smiled as he looked at Huamin. He thought that sometimes his Huamin was so silly and cute. So, Lingling, you don't have a problem with this? Huamin asked worriedly. No problem. Gao Ran will be there too. Haha, that's great. They're together again. I even suspect that they've discussed this beforehand. Huamin laughed. Honey, you should come with me tomorrow night. Me? I don't think so. I don't like to join in the fun. Huamin shook his head. He really didn't want to join in the fun. But I want you to go. Why? Huamin was a little surprised. Qin Shu rarely invited her to these boring and luxurious dinners. Chapter 507. Because this year's Night of the God of Gamblers is a test of IQ. So you want to test my IQ? Huamin laughed hysterically. No, I want to show off your IQ and let the whole world see how smart my wife is. Ahem. I'll give you 9 out of 10 for your flattery. I'm afraid you'll get too proud. So, you agree? But 3 days and 3 nights is too long. I'll delay my work. Huamin was still a little unwilling. I already called Wu Zhongxing. He wouldn't dare to disagree. Huamin, honey, is it really okay for you to threaten President Wu like this? Will he make things difficult for me? If he makes things difficult for you, then I think Wu Zhongxing doesn't want to be the director anymore. Qin Shu said slowly. Mr. Qin, does your wife know that you're so domineering? Huamin rested his chin on his hand and carefully looked at Qin Shu's devilishly handsome face. My wife knows, because in bed, I'm just as domineering. Huamin immediately covered his face. Was it really okay to flirt like this? Huamin really liked South Hill Manor. It was built with R&B. Plus, there were plenty of housekeepers and maids. It was an extremely luxurious lifestyle. However, she could understand why Qin Shu was so considerate. He wanted their child to live a good life. Inside the private mansion, Suyu swam around a dozen laps, exhausted, and walked out of the pool. Wei Liao handed him a towel. Then he lay down on a chair and closed his eyes to rest. The night of the Lawrence Pearl. It'll be fun. I'm not going even if it's fun. It's not as fun as Las Vegas. If you think it's fun, then go with Tang Chuan. Suyu was obviously not in the mood. Trash? Come on, did you find out? Do you know if Qin Shu is going? Do you think he's trash? Qin Shu is going too. Suyu was suddenly energized. Not only is Qin Shu going, I think Huamin is going too. Who said that? I said it. Wei Liao was extremely confident. Suyu, do you think you're a god and can predict the future? When he heard Wei Liao say that he guessed, Suyu instantly lost interest. Think about it. After you get on the boat, you won't come down for 3 days and 3 nights. Qin Shu is definitely going, because I asked someone to find out that you and Qin Shu are on the first row of the VIP list. From what I know, his assistant canceled his schedule for the next 3 days, which means he'll definitely be there. Huamin is going because I think Qin Shu won't leave his wife alone for 3 days and 3 nights. Plus, there are so many actresses and young models on the boat. If there's a scandal, he won't be able to clear his name. Do you think Qin Shu is that stupid? Wei Liao's analysis was clear and logical, and Suyu thought it made sense. He suddenly sat up and took off the towel on his body. What are you doing? Wei Liao was shocked to see him like this. Suyu didn't say anything. Instead, he picked up his phone and dialed a number. Tell Lawrence, that night of the Pearl, I'm going. Wei Liao looked at his impatient expression and smiled from now on. It seemed like wherever Huamin appeared, Suyu would target him. The next night at 8:00 sharp, Qin Shu, Huamin, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling appeared at the entrance of the luxurious cruise ship. Everyone else was showing their invitations. Qin Chu led them all the way, and no one dared to stop him. They couldn't help but marvel at his power. Do you know what the winner of the night of the gambling god will receive as a reward? Qin Chu smiled meaningfully as he looked at them and asked. Chapter 508. Gao Ran said, I'm guessing it's a luxury sports car, a limited edition Lamborghini or Bugatti. Gao Ran thought that since Lawrence was the big boss of Las Vegas, he wouldn't be stingy with his money. Zhu Lingling said, I'm guessing it's a VIP card from one of Lawrence's casinos. That's such a lame guess. Who would care about a VIP card? Gao Ran said in disdain. I think you're lame too. This time, even Huamin was on Gao Ran's side. Okay. Zhu Lingling obediently shut her mouth. Honey, what do you think? Qin Chu was looking forward to Huamin's opinion because he was always smart. Huamin thought for a moment and said, since Lawrence is the big boss of a casino, then it must be related to money. I'm guessing the final reward will be US dollars. PSH, I thought you had some new ideas, but you're just as lame, Gao Ran said in disdain. Yeah, girl, your IQ is dropping, haha. Huamin only smiled slightly at their teasing. Qin Chu lovingly lifted Huamin's bangs and smiled. Your little brain is the smartest. Hey, what do you mean? Don't tell me Huamin guessed it right? That's right, it's US dollars. Qin Chu nodded. Fuck, so it's really money. That's so tacky, Gao Ran complained. Money was simple and crude, but none of them had thought of it. Huamin was more shallow, so he guessed correctly. At this moment, Qin Chu continued. This time, our city's VIP list consists of 100 people. Everyone has to pay a deposit of $200,000 in advance, which is also considered the entrance fee. In the end, these 100 people will compete. The winner will win the 100 people's US dollars, and Lawrence will sponsor 50% of the total amount. In other words, the total amount is close to 120 million. Lawrence will subsidize 60 million, and the champion will get 180 million as a prize. Uffed. 180 million. Isn't that too exciting? Gao Ran was dumbfounded. You rich people really know how to play. You play with your heartbeat. Zhu Lingling sighed. So, hubby, you brought the 3 of us in, and the 4 of us paid a total of 800,000 yuan. Huamin also found it hard to accept. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have come, okay? What a prodigal. Let me correct you. It's not 800,000. Honey, it's 800,000 US dollars, which is 8 million yuan. Qin Chu chuckled. Ahem. 8 million yuan. That's a lot of money. It's enough for us to go to Las Vegas for 3 days. Okay? Why do you have to spend so much money? Huamin wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Although she was married to a rich man and her husband was very rich, she still didn't like to spend money like this. It was 8 million yuan. How could they just throw it away like this? Don't worry, honey, we'll work hard to earn it back. How? Are you going to win the championship? You're crazy. Huamin stared at Qin Chu. That's what I meant. It's impossible to count on the 2 of them, so I'm placing all my hopes on you. Honey, show off your super brain tonight and win the championship. Qin Chu deliberately teased Huamin. Yeah, girl, we believe in you. Huamin, you're the best. Keep it up. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling also sang the same tune. Huamin suddenly felt a lot of pressure. Are you guys trying to kill me? Huamin asked anxiously. Qin Chu smiled and put his arm around Huamin's shoulder. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Let's go in. Qin Chu scanned his fingerprint, and the 4 of them instantly received VIP cards. Needless to say, this was a money-burning night. Even the VIP cards were plated with real gold, so Zhu Lingling jokingly asked if they could take it with them when they left. However, the other 3 all rolled their eyes at her. They were already on the boat, so why would they care about the gold-plated card? Zhu Lingling was also useless. You can just rely on your looks to attract a rich guy, but if you take away the gold card, you'll lose fans, Huamin said on purpose. Then he observed Gao Ran, and sure enough, he didn't look very comfortable. Ahem, yeah. Why don't you just pick up a rich guy or something so that you don't have to come here for nothing? Gao Ran said against his will. Bastard cop, I dare you to say that again. Zhu Lingling was clearly unhappy as she glared at Gao Ran angrily. Chapter 509. You heard wrong. Maybe I was just saying, the moon is so round tonight, haha. After speaking, Gao Ran purposely looked up into the sky. Gao Ran knew he was in the wrong, so he didn't dare to say anything else. Qin Shu and Huamin looked at each other and smiled. Qin Shu and the other three were dressed very conspicuously. Qin Shu wore a custom-made black suit. Gao Ran, on the other hand, wore a navy blue half-length suit. Zhu Lingling was very pretty. She wore a mermaid skirt and a white Korean-style lotus leaf sleeve t-shirt. She wore golden heels, and her long hair was wavy. She looked mature and sexy. Huamin, on the other hand, was dressed in the weirdest way. He didn't seem to fit in at all with the guests here. Of the guests tonight, the men were all in suits, while the women were mostly in evening gowns or miniskirts. Each of them was prettier than the other. Huamin, on the other hand, only wore a black hoodie with a Mickey Mouse pattern on it. The hoodie was simple, and the pants were loose and tight. On his feet was a pair of white sneakers. He was dressed like a student, too casual. The most unbearable thing was that he was wearing a pair of black spectacles. It covered that pair of beautiful and clear eyes. His hair was combed into one of the most popular buns of the year. It matched his outfit, but it really wasn't suitable for tonight's occasion. To be honest, before they left, Huamin was conflicted and didn't really want to come. So he didn't dress up. Girl, I suggest you change your clothes. You look so forgettable, like a passerby, Zhu Lingling suggested. Yeah, Huamin, I don't want to criticize you, but as a young lady of GK, you shouldn't dress up like a prostitute. Even if you don't amaze everyone, you should at least be memorable, right? Gao Ran agreed with Zhu Lingling. It's fine. This isn't a beauty contest. Besides, my husband doesn't mind me. You two should stop nagging. After saying that, Huamin naughtily hugged Qin Shu's arm and shook it like a little girl. Qin Shu didn't say a word. He just held Huamin's hand, his eyes full of love. No matter what Huamin wore, he looked good in Qin Shu's eyes. There was no doubt about that. Not far away, Su Yu's group arrived. There were 7 or 8 of them, and they were all tonight's VIPs. Su Yu was in the lead, and Wei Liao and Tang Chuan were on his left and right respectively. Su Yu was wearing a white shirt and black casual pants. He looked clean and fresh, and his looks were off the charts. Although he wasn't as monstrous as Qin Shu, he definitely wouldn't lose in terms of aura. Young Master Su. President Su? Hello, young Master Su. Along the way, the guests all nodded and greeted Su Yu when they saw him. I think that's Huamin in front, Wei Liao said in a low voice after taking a closer look. I'm not blind. Su Yu had seen Huamin a long time ago, and his eyes never left him. It was just that her public display of affection with Qin Shu made Su Yu's heart thump a little, so he was in a bad mood. Ahem, this Huamin is really something. He's always showing off his love. As the saying goes, those who show off love die quickly. So, I don't think they'll be together for long. Haha, I suggest you make a move soon, Tang Chuan laughed. I won't let you down. Su Yu gritted his teeth and said one word at a time. Then, he strode forward. After they got onto their beds, they took their gold cards and went to their respective rooms according to the room numbers on the cards. The cruise ship was 8 stories high. It was said that there was a bar, a gym, a billiard hall, a KTV, a nightclub, a restaurant, and everything else. It was like a moving 5-star hotel. There was even a shopping mall, an indoor swimming pool, and a mini golf course. It was extremely luxurious. How about, I sleep in the same room as Huamin? Zhu Lingling suddenly suggested when they were going to separate rooms. Qin Shu, Huamin. Chapter 510. Zhu Lingling, is it really okay for you to interfere with a couple's love? Gao Ran looked down on her. But I don't dare to sleep alone. I'll have nightmares. Zhu Lingling pouted. Don't you have Gao Ran? Him? I don't think that's a good idea. Men and women shouldn't touch each other. Zhu Lingling smiled awkwardly. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. Why are you being so pretentious? Even if you want to do something to me, I don't want to do anything to you, Zhu Lingling retorted. So, big bro, big sis, have you decided whether you want to sleep in the same room? Or do you want to sleep in separate rooms? Huamin asked with a smile. I'm fine with anything. Gao Ran pouted and didn't say anything else. I won't with you ahem. Qin Chu coughed at the right time. Zhu Lingling immediately changed her mind. I'll sleep in the same room as the stinky cop. I'll be fine with that. In the end, everyone was happy. Qin Chu had just arrived at the door of his room when he was called away by Rick, who also came to hang out. Huamin sat in his room for a while and felt bored, so he decided to find Zhu Lingling and the others to chat. However, he didn't expect to bump into Su Yu in the hallway as soon as he walked out. The two of them faced each other, and Huamin smiled awkwardly. Hi. She smiled and greeted him calmly. Perhaps she was a bit nervous, but her glasses slowly slid down. Su Yu reacted quickly and caught the glasses. Then, he slowly opened them and put them on Huamin's delicate little face. Tonight, you're very beautiful, Su Yu said seriously as he looked at her. Ahem, don't joke around. Huamin thought that today's outfit made her look like she was going to the market to buy groceries. Su Yu actually said that she was beautiful. How would she know that Su Yu was into this? Maybe it was because he owned an entertainment company and had seen many women in the entertainment industry. I'm tired of those evening gowns, long legs, big breasts. Therefore, when he saw Hua Min's childish student outfit, Su Yu actually liked it very much. Especially the Mickey Mouse pattern on the shirt. Su Yu thought it was cute no matter how he looked at it. If they weren't in public, if Hua Min wasn't a married woman, he really wanted to force her into a corner and slam her against the wall. I'm not joking. I'm serious. Just as Hua Min was about to say something, he heard Qin Chu walk over from behind and put his arm around Hua Min's waist. Then, he slightly smiled at Su Yu. Honey, is this your friend? Su Yu was a patient of mine when I was at Southside Recuperation Center. We're Dr. Patient, Hua Min explained. Hello, Before Qin Chu could finish, Su Yu interrupted her. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are at all. I only care about the people I care about. After speaking, Su Yu walked away, as if he didn't want to say another word. Su Yu is like that. Don't mind him, Hua Min said to Qin Chu with a smile. Okay. Qin Chu nodded. Then, he hugged Hua Min and went back to their room. Half an hour later, the Western restaurant began to prepare an exquisite buffet for everyone. More than 100 people sat in the spacious restaurant, eating high-end food and drinking fine wine. The atmosphere was very good. Near the end, a man with blonde hair and blue eyes who looked to be in his 50s walked to the center of the stage. Is that Lawrence? Gao Ran asked. No, he's only Lawrence's assistant. Right now, we can't see Lawrence in person. He'll only appear at the last moment of the third day, Qin Chu said slowly. In 30 minutes, I'll be waiting for everyone at the Cloud Hall. 50 people will be eliminated tonight. Good luck, he said in English. Many people sighed after they understood what he meant. They felt that it was too cruel to eliminate 50 people on the first day. 200,000 USD. How could the headquarters be eliminated so quickly? If they're eliminated, will they leave the cruise ship? Hua Min was a little worried. He asked Qin Chu in a low voice. Chapter 511. You won't leave the cruise ship, but you'll lose the right to continue the competition. You can only be a spectator, Qin Chu said. Oh, that's good. Hua Min was relieved to hear that the losers wouldn't be kicked out. Girl, don't worry. With your insane IQ, you won't be one of the 50 eliminated. Zhu Lingling hugged Hua Min's neck and smiled intimately. Sister, I'm just worried that you'll be kicked out after you're eliminated. Hua Min looked at Zhu Lingling helplessly. Ha. Gao Ren couldn't stop laughing. What are you laughing at? Don't gloat. Maybe you'll be eliminated earlier than me. Zhu Lingling stared at Gao Ran. Impossible. Although my IQ isn't as high as Hua Min's, I won't be one of the 50 eliminated. I'll at least be able to last until the second day. Gao Ran was full of confidence. You're bluffing. Let's see how you'll die later. Zhu Lingling obviously didn't believe him. Qin Chu didn't say much. After the four of them had dinner, they went straight to the Cloud Hall. The Cloud Hall was decorated very luxuriously. It didn't lose to the casinos in Las Vegas. The ceiling was decorated with a simulation of the blue sky and white clouds, giving people the illusion that it was daytime. Isn't this idea copied from the Venetian casino in Macau? That's how it is. Zhu Lingling had been to Macau with her friends before, so she had been to the Venetian casino. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Anyway, they're all big bosses in Las Vegas. They're all the same. Huomi nodded. After entering, the waiter at the door gave out 100,000 chips to the beauties. That meant that each of the 100 contestants had 100,000 chips. Then they sat down and played. After 2 hours, they would check the chips in their hands. Those with more chips would win. In the end, the 50 contestants with less chips would be eliminated immediately. What's the game later? Do you know? Huomin held Qin Chu's hand and asked softly. 5-card stud. Qin Chu moved his lips and said 2 words. Oh! Huomin nodded. It turned out to be such a simple game of poker. She had only played it on the computer before. He hadn't played with a real person before, so it was quite exciting just thinking about it. Then Qin Chu walked around the other 3 and said, "In a while, the 4 of us will act separately. We can't sit at the same table. We have to win against others. The more we win, the better. Only then will we have a chance to advance. But don't take risks. Don't bet everything on a single round of cards." "Sure, no problem. See you later." Gao Ran was also very excited and eager to give it a try. Gambling was not allowed in China, so Gao Ran usually played computer games. However, it was different on a cruise ship. Ever since they boarded the ship had started moving. At this time, they were already in international waters and were no longer in the country. So, no one would restrict you from playing anything. After being a good police officer his whole life, Gao Ran also wanted to know what it was like to be the god of gamblers. After giving his instructions, Qin Chu looked at Huomin worriedly. "Honey, there are a lot of people here. It's a bit messy. You have to be careful. Don't go too far. It's best if you stay within my sight." "I know." Huomin smiled slightly. All the VIPs in the Cloud Hall had gathered. The organizer announced the start of the game, and everyone found a table to sit down. Some people held chips in their hands, but weren't in a hurry to play. They were just observing. Huomin was one of the spectators. She held a red chip card in her hand and looked around. However, she accidentally bumped into someone. Huomin quickly apologized. "Sorry." "Huomin, sit down and play with me?" Wei Liao smiled and took the initiative to invite her. Huomin wasn't very familiar with Wei Liao. However, she often saw him beside Suyu. She guessed that they should be very good friends. Seeing that Huomin didn't say anything, Wei Liao continued, "Why don't you sit at Lord Su's table? He'll definitely let you advance smoothly." Huomin looked in the direction he was pointing at. Suyu was just a table away. He had already sat down and started a fight. Chapter 512. Thank you for your invitation, but I'm in a hurry to play. You guys can go first. Huomin smiled and declined Wei Liao's invitation. Then she slowly walked around and looked around. She found that many people could not hold back and had already sat down. Huomin wanted to try her luck. She saw that there was a table beside her that lacked a seat, so she sat down beside her. Opposite her was an elderly woman in her 50s. She wore heavy makeup and was slightly chubby. Her hair was tied up, and she had a cigarette in her mouth. She did not look like a kind person. On her left was a bespectacled man in his late 30s. He was thin and average-looking. On the right was a bald man with a fat head and big ears. He looked to be in his 40s and was wearing a Rolex watch. The stench of copper filled the air. "Oh, a young lady is here. We can reveal our cards now." The bald man smiled wretchedly. The others did not speak. The dealer standing at the side immediately said, "Everyone is here. We can deal now. Before we deal, please place your bets." The smoking Annie immediately threw in 1,000 yuan worth of chips. Then, the bespectacled man threw in his chips as well. Huomin and the bald man threw in their chips at the same time. They had a total of 4,000 yuan worth of chips. When they called out their cards later, it would not be lower than 1,000 yuan. It seemed that they were not playing very well. It was not an exciting scene that would determine the winner or loser. "Okay, we'll deal now." After the dealer finished speaking, he put on his white gloves and started to deal the cards. Card stud was relatively simple. There were 28 cards in total, 8-9-10 JQK. Then they would compare the big and small cards. Everyone would start with 2 bottom cards that only they could see. Then they would give out 3 name cards that everyone could see. Finally, they would compare the big and small cards. Huamin was not very lucky. The 2 bottom cards she got were 8s and 9s. If both cards were 8s, she could get 3 8s and blow it up. However, it was really unlucky to get an 8 and a 9s. Huamin noticed the smoking ante. After she saw the bottom cards, the corner of her mouth curled up. She was very pleased with herself. Then the dealer began to give out the name tags. The smoking ante's first name tag was K, the bald guy's was J, the glasses guy's was J, and Huamin's was Q. The ante had the most chips, so she said $3,000. Then she threw in 3,000 chips. The bespectacled man hesitated for a moment and finally said, "I'm not following." Then he put down his card and forfeited. Huamin threw in 3,000 chips and said call. Baldy also took out 3,000 chips and threw them in. Follow. In the second round, the woman got an ace, the Baldy got a queen, and Huamin got a jack. The ante was the biggest again. She took another $5,000 and threw in $5,000. Before Huamin could say anything, the Baldy immediately put down his card. "I'm not following." He forfeited. The ante smiled proudly. Then she looked at Huamin provocatively. If Huamin also forfeited, then it would mean that the chips that everyone had thrown in just now and the bottom card that they had placed earlier all belonged to the ante. Huamin calmly picked up his chips. Just as he was about to throw them in, the Baldy reminded him, "Girl, she has an ace and a king, which is 28 points. You have a queen and a jack, which is 23 points. You've already lost 5 points. If your bottom card isn't big enough, you'll lose for sure. It's not the last round yet. No one knows what the result will be. Who knows, maybe I'll get a big one in the third round." After saying that, Huamin threw in 5,000 chips without hesitation. The others looked at her in disbelief. They didn't expect this young girl to be so bold. "Hurry up and give out the cards." The ante seemed a little impatient. The dealer immediately gave out the cards for the third round. Only Huamin and the ante were left in the third round, so only 2 cards were given out. In the previous round, the ante had the most chips, so she was given out first. This time, she got a queen. Huamin got an ace, so this time, Huamin had the right to speak. The dealer reminded her, "You can place your bet now, madam." Chapter 513. Without hesitation, Huamin took out 10,000 yuan worth of chips and threw it in. 10,000. The surrounding crowd was in an uproar. 10,000 yuan was quite a lot. After all, everyone only had 100,000 yuan worth of chips. The smoking ante was originally full of confidence, but when she saw how generous Huamin was, she suddenly hesitated. Her 3 name cards were KQ, and her bottom card was AK. Huamin's 3 name cards were QJ, and her bottom cards were 8 to 9. Whether it was name cards or bottom cards, Huamin was bound to lose. However, the others didn't know what Huamin's bottom card was, and they only saw how brave she was to bet 10,000 yuan. The bespectacled man said, "This girl probably has a straight flush." A straight flush would be 89. 10, JQ, or 10, JQK, or something like that. Therefore, when they saw that Huamin's name card were QJ, they thought that her bottom cards were K and 10. Do you want to call? If so, please place your bet." The dealer reminded the smoking ante. She hesitated for 5 seconds, then raised her head to look at Huamin. She saw that this little girl had a confident look on her face. Then, she gritted her teeth, put down her cards, and said dejectedly, "I'm not calling. I declare that this lady wins." Seeing that she gave up, the dealer pushed all the chips in front of Huamin with a ruler. Huamin won 14,000 yuan in 1 round, and she was extremely satisfied. "What's your bottom card?" The ante took one last puff of her cigarette, then threw it on the ground and stomped on the cigarette butt. She was somewhat unwilling to give up and asked Huamin. Huamin smiled, then used her slender fingers to flip over her territory. Once again, everyone's jaws dropped. She only had 8 and 9. She had so much less than her opponent, yet she still dared to bet 10,000 yuan worth of chips. Wasn't she looking for death? What? 8 and 9 you... Annie was so angry that she stomped her feet. If he had known that this little girl had such a low score, he would have followed her even if he was beaten to death. She had given up at the critical moment because she thought that Huamin had a straight flush. How can you be so confident with such a low score? The bespectacled man was also speechless. He looked at Huamin silently and asked, "My confidence doesn't come from my score. It comes from the fact that Annie doesn't dare to keep up with me because she thinks I have a straight flush." Huamin carefully put away the chips in his pocket. He was in a good mood. "I'm so angry. What a pity." The Annie complained. Baldy couldn't help but look at Huamin in admiration. "Sister, you're so bold. Let's play another round." "No, I have to change tables. You guys have already seen through my psychological tactics. What's the point of playing anymore?" Huamin stood up with a smile. In fact, she wasn't afraid to continue playing with these people because they would still lose if they continued playing. Although they were older than Huamin, they were too impatient and showed their emotions on their faces. Huamin could basically guess the size of their cards just by looking at their micro-expressions. It wasn't challenging at all. He tried his luck just now, but his luck wasn't good enough. Fortunately, Huamin was smart and won with psychological tactics. "Hey girl, you're so bold. Sit with me. Let's team up and beat them to death." Tang Chuan had unknowingly run behind Huamin to watch the game. To be honest, he was worried for Huamin. If that Annie was braver and bet 10,000 yuan, wouldn't Huamin lose miserably? This girl really dared to gamble. No wonder Su Yu liked her so much. She was indeed very likable. "Sorry, I don't like to team up with others." Huamin smiled slightly and directly rejected Tang Chuan's request to team up. Then, she walked to another table. This girl is so cocky. Tang Chuan's face was filled with disappointment. He was counting on Huamin to win more, but he wasn't very lucky today. He played 2 rounds and lost 2 rounds. If he lost again, he would probably be eliminated today. Huamin walked around and finally found Zhu Lingling. When he saw the chips under her eyes, Huamin almost fainted. "Miss Zhu Lingling, you're going to be eliminated. Do you know that?" Huamin helplessly reminded her as he sat down beside her. Chapter 514. "I can't help it. I'm just unlucky." Zhu Lingling frowned. The organizers didn't allow anyone to help them, so they had to play by themselves. Therefore, Zhu Lingling became the first victim. She couldn't get Huamin to help her, so she had to try her luck. She didn't know if it was because her opponent was too strong or because she was just too unlucky. She lost less than 20,000 yuan in an instant. "What should I do? Can you help me think of a way to turn this around?" Zhu Lingling held onto Huamin's hand. "There's nothing I can do. If you lose, you lose. It's good that you're eliminated. Otherwise, you really want to become the god of gamblers." Huamin thought that people like Lingling who didn't have any skills or high IQ should just play for fun. If she lost, then she lost. It didn't matter. She could relax and be a spectator in the future. She didn't have to be so nervous or worried. "But the stupid cop will laugh at me," Zhu Lingling said worriedly. "Haha, he won't because his record isn't good either. He'll probably be eliminated just like you." "Really? Haha, that's great. Then I won't worry anymore." Even if she died, she still had to drag someone down with her. When Zhu Lingling heard that Gao Ran was going to lose, she felt much more relaxed. Huamin turned around and stood next to Qin Shu for a little while. She didn't need to worry about Mr. Qin at all. She won a lot of money, while the other 3 players at Qin Shu's table lost everything. In less than an hour, he won over 300,000 yuan. Then, Qin Shu stood up and hugged Huamin's waist. "How is it, honey? Only 14,000 yuan." Huamin smiled. "It's okay. There's still an hour or so left. Let's go get something to drink." Then, Qin Shu hugged Huamin and walked to the lounge area on the side and ordered 2 cups of coffee. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling had already lost all their bets and were enjoying the view from the side. Gao Ran. "That couple is crazy. It's not time yet, but they're already drinking coffee." Zhu Lingling. "They are confident that they can win. They're different from us." Gao Ran. Didn't you find time to hook up with a rich husband? Zhu Lingling, fishing my ass. My table is full of old men and old women. Gao Ran. Ha ha ha. Zhu Lingling. What the fuck are you laughing at? Does your mom know that you're so easily amused? Huamin and Qin Shu sat for a while and then stood up. Let's go. There's less than half an hour left. Let's play one more round and then stop. Huamin nodded and put on the black glasses. Then the two of them split up again. Huamin picked a table with more chips than the other three and sat down. This time, the other three players were all young men. They were probably from rich families. Wow, a little girl. How interesting, one of them said. Don't sit here. These three are very good. A middle-aged man behind her kindly reminded her. Huamin turned around and thanked him. Thank you, uncle. But I like to play cards with good players. It's very interesting. You have guts. Little girl, I admire you, a male player across from her said with a smile. Huamin didn't say anything. She just took out all her chips and placed them on the table. It wasn't much, just a little over 110,000, but it wasn't little either. Deal the cards. Time is limited. Huamin looked up and said to the dealer. She didn't want to chat at all. It was a waste of time. The dealer nodded and began to deal. Huamin was luckier this round. Both of her cards were KK. The man across from her was bigger and had 2 AA cards. The other two players had already forfeited. The chips on the table had reached around 50,000 yuan. This little girl is going to lose. Her opponent should have 3 aces, a spectator said calmly as he analyzed the situation. Chapter 5:15. Yeah, the little girl's cards aren't small either, but she's not very lucky, another person said. Huamin didn't say anything. She just looked at the table quietly. The dealer dealt the cards for the 3rd time, and her opponent got an ace again. Everyone was shocked. There were 3 aces on the table, which was already very big. This time, Huamin's card was a jack. In other words, Huamin's card was a KKJ, and her opponent was a AAA. The young man on the other side laughed and proudly threw in 50,000 chips. 50,000 this time. Do you dare to follow? Little girl. Huamin's expression seemed to be conflicted for a while, as if she was considering, sister, don't think about it. Even if you have 3 kings, you're not as big as him. You'll lose miserably. What if his bottom card is 2 8s? Huamin asked back. Haha, are you kidding? How can I have 2 8s? The man laughed arrogantly. Just when everyone thought that Huamin would give up, she pushed in all the remaining 90,000 chips in her hand. She only said 2 words, all in. Are you crazy? The onlookers behind them were all excited. They immediately scolded Huamin for being crazy. Are you sure all in? The man on the other side was so happy that he almost jumped up. He had never seen such a stupid woman. She even dared to bet that he had 2 8s as his bottom card. But he didn't. His bottom cards were a jack and a queen. So, he thought that this little girl was going to lose? I'm sure, Huamin said firmly. The man immediately took out 90,000 chips and threw in. I'll follow your lead. The dealer looked at the two of them calmly and said, please reveal your cards. The man couldn't hold it in anymore and directly revealed his trump card. It was a jack and a queen. He also had an AAA card. Huamin raised the corner of her mouth slightly and revealed her 2 cards as well. Everyone was dumbfounded again. It was 2 kings. In other words, Huamin's face was a KKJ, and her bottom card was a KK. Although the man had 3 A's, Huamin had 4 kings. This was such an unexpected thing. Holy shit. For kings, this is crazy. The onlookers were all excited. The man on the other side was completely speechless. He looked at Huamin with a pale face. Impossible, she cheated. The dealer said slowly, Sir, please calm down. All the cards here are provided by the organizers. There's absolutely no problem. The VIPs who entered the Cloud Hall have also been scanned by high-tech equipment. No one brought in any cards, so there's absolutely no cheating. How is this possible? How is this possible? The man was dumbfounded. He fell into a chair and kept repeating the same sentence. The most infuriating thing was that when he saw the little girl's expression just now, he thought that she didn't have a trump card. If it was someone else who had 4 kings, wouldn't they be proud of it? However, Huamin didn't. She was afraid that if she was too proud, she would scare her opponent away. Her opponent wouldn't dare to place a big bet. Therefore, she pretended to be very conflicted and successfully confused her opponent's analytical ability. The dealer used a ruler to push all 250,000 chips in front of Huamin. Huamin slowly took out her purse and put all the chips in it. Then, she stood up gracefully and left the table. This little girl is so awesome. The other two opponents at the table exclaimed. Luckily, they didn't follow until the end. Otherwise, they would lose everything. Does anyone know her? Do you know who she is? One of the men asked. Because the people who boarded this time were all celebrities in the city, most of them knew each other. However, they had never seen this little girl who wore glasses and a Mickey Mouse sweater. Therefore, they were especially surprised. However, most of them said that they didn't know her. This made her identity even more mysterious. When she returned to Qin Shu's side, Qin Shu had already finished the battle. He was sitting on the sofa smoking with $1 million in spoils of war. When he saw Huamin coming over, he immediately pulled her to sit on his lap with one hand. He was extremely doting on her. How much did you win this time? Qin Shu asked with a gentle smile. Chapter 516. Not much. Huamin smiled modestly. Not much is not much. Only 200,000 yuan, not even 1/5 of yours. I don't need too much, just enough for you to advance. It's no fun even if I advance. I won't be the champion in the end. Says who? Qin Shu asked with a smile. Of course, with you here, I won't be able to win. Huamin pouted, looking like a wronged wife. I'll give you the championship. No, I want you to win. Why? Because I'd be happier if you won the championship than if I won it myself. Plus, no one knows who I am, so it's useless for me to win the championship. However, you represent GK, so if you win this championship, it'll be great for the company's future development and your personal reputation. You little brain, why do you always think so fast? How do you expect others to live if you act like this? If I wasn't smart, why would I have you as my husband? Huamin retorted. Then, the two looked at each other and smiled. Not far away, Suyu, who also won over 1 million yuan, silently watched them without saying a word. I say, you didn't have to come. You're not interested in being the god of gamblers, and you don't care about the prize money. Why did you come here to suffer? You even got seasick. Wei Liao complained. Yes, you didn't see wrong. So you got seasick, but he still got on a cruise ship, all because he wanted to see someone. Cut the crap, Suyu said coldly, and then he turned around and left Cloud Hall with a dark expression. After 2 hours of competition, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were both eliminated because they lost all their bets. Some who won a little money were also eliminated, and the remaining 50 would compete in the second round tomorrow. Honey, do you know what we're competing in tomorrow? Huamin asked excitedly. Fight the landlord. Huamin, fight the landlord? Are you sure? Is there really no mistake? Huamin felt that it was a bit ridiculous. Wasn't it too low to compete in such a big venue? Who knows? I guessed. Qin Shu smiled. After returning to his room, Qin Shu took out his laptop and contacted Assistant Yang for a video conference. Huamin wanted to look for Ling Ling, but he suddenly wondered if he would disturb the couple if he went over at this time. Just as she was hesitating at the door, she suddenly saw Wei Liao walking towards her. Huamin, can you follow me to see Suyu? What's wrong with him? Seeing Wei Liao's anxious expression, Huamin had a bad feeling. He was seasick and vomited a lot. Seasick? Huamin was a bit surprised. Then, without another word, he followed Wei Liao to Suyu's room. Because they were all VIPs, their rooms were all on the most luxurious floor. They were all executive suites. Also, they were on the same floor, so after walking for a few hundred meters, they arrived at their destination. When Huamin walked in, Suyu was still leaning against the toilet bowl in the bathroom, vomiting like crazy. Suyu, I invited the god? Oh no, I invited the miracle doctor for you. After Wei Liao finished speaking, Suyu immediately came back to his senses. He was lying in the bathroom in a sorry state. He looked very weak and his face was pale. However, the moment he saw Huamin, his eyes flashed with surprise, although it was only for a short moment. Why are you here? He struggled to get up and took out a piece of tissue to wipe the corner of his mouth. I heard you were seasick. Huamin looked at him quietly. Suyu nodded, then picked up a pack of cigarettes from the sink and put one in his mouth. Before he could light it up, Huamin rushed over, snatched it, and threw it into the trash can. What are you doing? Suyu was slightly surprised. Chapter 517. You have no common sense. I don't know how you've survived until now. Seasick people smoke because the smell of cigarettes irritates their senses and brain, making them vomit even more. Suyu, Wei Liao, I'd like to hear what the doctor says. Suyu, she's not a doctor. She's just a nurse, okay? Huamin, so you have the energy to insult me because you don't need my help at all? After speaking, Huamin turned to leave. Hey. I didn't mean it that way. Don't go. I'm really sick from seasickness. This was the first time Suyu had spoken so softly. He didn't really want Huamin to treat his seasickness. He just wanted Huamin to stay a little longer. Huamin stopped in his tracks and turned around in annoyance. He grabbed Suyu's clothes and dragged him to the big bed in the bedroom. Then he took out a bottle of essential balm from his little bag, dipped his fingertips in it, and gently tapped Suyu's left temple. When Suyu's head touched Huamin's fingertips, he felt an electric current coursing through his entire body. That magical feeling, that feeling of nervousness, that feeling of extreme excitement. Ahem. I'll leave for a moment, Wei Liao said as he tried to leave. You don't have to leave. I'll take him out for some fresh air. Huamin tapped Suyu's right temple and dragged him out of the room. Less than 5 meters away from Suyu's room, there was a passageway that led directly to the deck above. Huamin dragged Suyu all the way to the deck and enjoyed the comfortable sea breeze. Sure enough, Suyu felt much better. If you're seasick, you can't eat too much food. You have to maintain a half-starved state. Also, you have to avoid irritating smells such as fish, prawns, and tobacco. Getting some fresh air can alleviate your symptoms. Later, you can ask the service desk to send some motion sickness medicine over. Although it doesn't have much effect, it's better than nothing. Huamin said a lot, but Suyu couldn't remember a single word because he was too focused on Huamin's profile. Huamin was no longer wearing his spectacles. His clean side profile was blown by the sea breeze, and the corners of his eyes seemed to have a different kind of charm. Suyu had a crazy idea. He wanted to hug her and kiss her eyes. However, he didn't dare because he was afraid that once he crossed the line, he would never be able to get close to Huamin again. Do you remember what I said? Suyu, what are you standing there for? Huamin stared at Suyu and asked. No, nothing. Do you remember what I said? Yes. Repeat it to me, Huamin said sternly. Suyu, big sister, are you messing with me on purpose? How can I repeat what you said? I'm not a recorder. Suyu complained on purpose. Forget it. It's a waste of my breath to talk to someone like you. Huamin sighed slightly. Then, he looked at Suyu and asked, I don't understand. Don't you know that you're seasick? Why did you come up? Do you have nothing better to do? Why did you join the fun? You don't need money, and the prize money isn't tempting to you, right? Ahem. It's purely a hobby, Suyu said on purpose. Are you a gambler? Huamin frowned and asked. No, I like to join the fun. Huamin. Suyu's answer made her speechless. Joining in the fun was suicidal. Although she couldn't personally experience seasickness, she felt that it was worse than death. But at the same time, he also felt that it was a fate worse than death. His heart, liver, and lungs almost spat out. She felt like she was going to heaven. Okay, anyway, be careful. If you feel uncomfortable, drink some ice water to suppress it. Don't run around and don't eat anything. After speaking, Huamin turned to leave. Huamin, he suddenly called out reluctantly. Huamin turned to look at Suyu. Chapter 518. How much did you win today? In fact, Suyu wanted to shout out loud, Huamian, I like you, but he chickened out at the critical moment. Looking into Huamian's eyes, he forced himself to change the words he was supposed to confess to her into, how much did you win today? About 200,000. Oh, okay. I'm going to go now. Call me if you need anything. After speaking, Huamin got off the splint. When Suyu returned to his room, he was in a surprisingly good mood and whistled. Wei Liao took a shower and laid on the chaise lounge with a smile. Did you enjoy seeing her face? Yeah, I enjoyed it. So you didn't try to hide it. Don't you know how you looked at her just now? What look? So you looked at Wei Liao in confusion, like a wolf looking at a sheep. If I wasn't in the room, you would have pounced on her when she applied the bomb on you, right? Maybe. Control yourself. She's not your wife yet. She will be, sooner or later. So you seem to be full of confidence. I really have to hand it to you. Where did your confidence come from? After Wei Liao saw the relationship between Qin Chu and Huamin, he felt that Suyu had no chance at all. They were childhood sweethearts and had loved each other since high school. It was hard for outsiders to get involved. Mao Zedong once said that people should have dreams. What they come true? Wei Liao froze. Huh? Did Mao Zedong say that? I won't pursue the matter if it was Mao Zedong or not. But don't you think it makes sense? Suyu asked back. Wei Liao, I don't think so. Suyu, when Huamin returned to his room, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were there as well. Where did you go? I called you, but you didn't answer. My phone is out of battery. Huamin lowered his head and took out his phone, only to find that it was switched off. She didn't want to hide the truth about Su Yu from Qin Chu, but since Lingling and Gao Ran were here, she didn't mention it. After all, this was a private matter, and it wasn't good for more people to know. Fortunately, Qin Chu didn't ask her where she went. Let's go to the bar. I heard that the waiters in the bar are all handsome foreigners. Zhu Lingling pulled Huamin away. Qin Chu and Gao Ran followed behind him. The four of them went to a luxurious bar in the middle of the cruise ship. There were many people inside. There was a performance on the stage. It was a pole dance. A Russian girl had a great figure and big breasts. Don't look. Before Qin Chu could look, Huamin reached out and covered his eyes. Huamin, aren't you being too strict? He can't even look. Gao Ran immediately felt bad for Qin Chu. No, he can only look at me. Huamin smiled domineeringly. Qin Chu hugged her waist lovingly and smiled. Oh my God, you're abusing me again. You're so annoying. Zhu Lingling turned her head away and drank her beer gloomily. Don't drink so much, Gao Ran reminded her. What? Are you afraid that I'll rape you if I get drunk? Ahem. Gao Ran almost choked on his beer. Let's go, girl, let's go dance. I don't know how to dance, Huamin replied. It's okay, just dance. No one will laugh at us. Then, before Huamin could say anything, Zhu Lingling dragged her onto the dance floor. The loud music was deafening, and Huamin felt like her head was going to explode. Just then, a few men looked over from not far away. Hey, isn't that the girl who beat you at the Cloud Hall today? She has a great figure and is so cute. Yeah, I think she's cute too. Huh, she looks like a sweet, naive girl. She should be a student, the man who fought with Huamin said with interest. Then why don't you go? Ha, if you can't win at the table, you can conquer her in bed. A few rich second-generation heirs laughed and talked about Huamin. The man who fought with Huamin, under the encouragement of the other men, walked over arrogantly. Hey, little sister, we meet again. He stood behind Huamin and greeted her. Huamin turned around and looked at him, but she didn't seem like she was going to say anything. Chapter 519. Sis, are you alone? The man's way of flirting was really old-fashioned. What do you want? Huamin looked at the man and was confused. I lost you today, but you're really good. Let's be friends. My name is Wang Hao. Sorry, I don't make friends with strangers. Huamin turned on his pretentious mode. We won't be strangers if we get to know each other. The problem is, I don't want to get to know you at all. Huh? What? Sis, are you going to fall out with me after winning my money? The man was a little embarrassed and began to speak in a strange tone. I think you're the one who can't afford to lose. So you want to settle the score? I can't afford to lose. Do you know who I am? Do you know who my dad is? If I tell you, you'll be scared to death. Before the man finished speaking, Gao Ran walked over. What's going on? Gao Ran and Qin Chu were not far away and were staring at them. When Qin Chu saw a stranger approaching, he couldn't stay calm. He wanted to come over, but Gao Ran beat him to it. But it was good. After all, Gao Ran was from a municipal bureau, so it was easier for him to show his face. Seeing Gao Ran walk over, the man was stunned. Then, he smiled apologetically. Hey, isn't this Captain Gao from the municipal bureau? What a coincidence. You're here too. Gao Ran glanced at the man. Wang Hao, you didn't have enough fun in China, so you came to the yacht, right? It's not illegal to be on the yacht, right? All right. Is this pretty girl your friend? She's my sister. Ahem. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. Haha, I'll leave first. I'll treat you to tea another day. It's okay, I'll treat you to tea, Gao Ran said with a hidden meaning. The man was so scared that he ran away. Of course, he didn't want to go to the municipal bureau for tea. Huh. Who is that person? Did he run away with his tail between his legs like a dog? Zhu Lingling laughed. He's a small entrepreneur. His father used to be a member of the local tax bureau. He's a little rich second generation. However, this kid is not doing his job properly. His business is almost bankrupt. He's often detained by our city bureau because he gathers people to gamble. He's a crazy gambler. I heard that he lost more than 20 million in one night in Macau last year. In the end, he didn't even have a ticket to come back. What a wastrel. Zhu Lingling sighed. Huamin, are you all right? Gao Ran asked. It's nothing. I played with him at the same table during the day and won a lot of money from him. He's probably here to pick a fight. Not anymore. He knows who I am. Okay. Huamin nodded. Then, the three of them returned to the table at the bar and drank cocktails. What a pity that Hua Xiqian didn't come to such a grand occasion, Gao Ran suddenly said. He's never been interested in gambling, Qin Chu said faintly. Yes, he's interested in women. Huh. I heard that this kid is very, very perverted. He's looking for a woman every night. His desire is frightening. I don't know if he's really that strong or he's on drugs. Gao Ran laughed. You're so disgusting, Gao Ran. How dare you say such dirty things in front of us? Zhu Lingling pinched him hard. Ouch, don't pinch me. It hurts. It's not a big deal. Huamin has been through this before. He's already married. What doesn't he know? But I'm still single. You're not married, so you know more than other married people. I'm not even hesitating to expose you. Just stop and take a nap. Ahem. Zhu Lingling felt awkward and didn't say anything else. Huamin hugged Qin Chu's arm and listened to the bar singer's English song. He seemed to be in a good mood. Wifey, Qin Chu said in a low voice. Yes? Huamin looked up at his handsome face. If I lose to Su Yu in the championship, will you be disappointed? Qin Chu asked in a very low voice that only the two of them could hear. Chapter 520. Why did you suddenly ask that? Huamin thought that his question was a bit strange. Nothing. It's just a casual question. Of course you won't be disappointed, because there's no way you'll lose to Su Yu. Okay? You have that much confidence in me. Qin Chu smiled. Of course, because you're Huamin's husband, so you have to be invincible. Qin Chu reached out his hand and lovingly stroked Huamin's face, as if he couldn't get enough of it. After a while at the bar, Huamin began to feel tired. He suggested that they go back, so everyone followed him. On the way back, Zhu Lingling suddenly asked, Girl, you're not pregnant? Are you so sleepy? Upon hearing this, Qin Chu and Gao Ran both froze. Then, they looked at Huamin. Ahem. No, my period just ended a few days ago, okay? Oh, you scare me to death. I thought you were going to give me gifts again. Gao Ran patted his chest. Look at how useless you are. I'd rather give you gifts. I want Huamin's child to be born as soon as possible, and I even want to be a godmother. Zhu Lingling rolled her eyes at him. Then I'll be the godfather. Gao Ran immediately agreed. Qin Chu faintly said, You two are so passionate. Why don't you have one yourself? Why are you counting on us? Ahem. Gao Ran violently coughed. Zhu Lingling, Huamin smiled and pulled Qin Chu's hand back to their room, not letting him tease the two clowns anymore. You must be tired, go to bed early. Qin Chu patted Huamin's head. Honey, before I went to the bar today, I was actually looking for her. You don't have to explain. It's okay. You have your freedom, and I believe in you. Qin Chu didn't let Huamin finish his words. He gently reached out and placed his hand on her lips. Then, he turned around and filled the bathtub for her. Huamin was deeply touched. What else could she ask for in her life? The next day, when everyone woke up, it was already noon. After lunch, the organizer announced that the second round of the competition would be held in the White Jade Hall. Today's competition was even crueler because 48 people had to be eliminated. Only 2 people were left, and the god of gamblers would be decided on the last day. As soon as the rules were announced, everyone started complaining. Come on. Huamin clenched his fists and cheered for Qin Chu. Then, he led Lingling to another table. Gao Ran, on the other hand, became Qin Chu's temporary assistant, pouring water for him and staying by his side. He walked around and found that all the other tables were occupied. He frowned. Zhu Lingling pointed not too far away and said, "Girl, look, there's an empty seat over there." Huamin walked over and found that the people sitting there were Su Yu and Wei Liao. No one dared to sit there. No one dared to offend Su Yu, because he was not someone to be trifled with. Originally, Tang Chuan wanted to sit with them, but Wei Liao chased him away. Wei Liao said that he wanted to see if there was anyone brave enough to sit at their table. Today's game was Do Diju. It was a 3-player game, so there was only one person missing. Huamin walked over and saw that it was Su Yu and Wei Liao. For a moment, he didn't know if he should leave or stay. "Do you mind if I sit down?" Huamin slowly asked. "My pleasure." Wei Liao immediately extended his hand to welcome him. Su Yu looked at Huamin and didn't say anything. However, his eyes were like that of a young man in love for the first time. It was so passionate. Zhu Lingling lowered her head and whispered into Huamin's ear, "Big sis, let's change tables. These 2 are not to be trifled with. Wei Liao is fine, but the Su family's crown prince has a bad temper. If he loses to you, will he flip out?" "He won't. Let's sit here." Huamin smiled slightly, then calmly sat down. She had attracted a lot of people to look at her, because in the eyes of others, this seat was not to be taken. No one dared to sit there. However, Huamin, who didn't care about his life, directly rushed up, so those people waited for a good show. After the cards were dealt, Huamin looked at his cards and calmly said, "Call the landlord." Chapter 5:21. Not stealing. Su Yu said in a muffled voice as he held the cards. Wei Liao was just about to say steal when he saw Su Yu give him a look and immediately stopped. "I won't steal either," Wei Liao stuttered. In the end, the landlord successfully went to Huamin. 456789110. Huamin played a dragon. "Pass." She only said one word. "I will also pass." Wei Liao looked at the card in his hand and said with difficulty. Huamin could tell that something was wrong with Wei Liao, so he reminded him, "You don't have to go easy on me. This is a competition, not a friendly match. Just play your cards normally." "I'm not going easy on you. I really can't control you," Su Yu explained. "Yeah, I really can't control you." Wei Liao gritted his teeth. He had already decided that after helping Su Yu flirt with girls, he would definitely go to Su Yu's mansion after they got off the boat. He wanted to see if there was anything he could scam him with. Otherwise, he would have suffered for nothing. 3 leads 1. Huamin played another card. "Pass. Pass." Wei Liao followed Su Yu's footsteps. Huamin felt that things were going too smoothly, so he took out a bomb and said, 4 twos. "Pass. I'll also pass." Wei Liao continued to feel wronged. "Didn't the 2 kings pair up? Why didn't you do anything?" Huamin felt that something was wrong, so he looked at Su Yu and asked, "You don't have to control me." Su Yu explained, "I don't believe you." Huamin didn't wait for Su Yu to speak before he went up and spread out the cards in his hand. The dealer quickly stopped her. "Miss, you can't do that. It's against the rules." "It's okay. She's my friend," Su Yu explained to the dealer. Huamin took a look. Su Yu indeed only had 1 Xiao Wang. It seemed that the other one was in Wei Liao's hands. Thus, Huamin easily won the round and won 100,000 chips. "I don't want to play anymore." Huamin didn't want to play the next round because Su Yu and Wei Liao gave in to her too much. It wasn't fun. "What happened? You guys are too insincere. I'll change tables." After saying that, Huamin threw down the chips that he was supposed to take away. "Your chips," the dealer reminded him. "I gave it to him." Pointing at Su Yu, Huamin said domineeringly. After Huamin left the table, Su Yu slowly pulled out another king from his sleeve. He did have a pair, but he didn't care. He was just that stubborn. Wei Liao glanced at Su Yu and laughed. You rich people sure know how to play. You even took apart 2 kings and hid them. Your flirting skills are unparalleled. Su Yu smiled and didn't say anything. He picked up the 100,000 chips that Huamin left behind and felt very happy. Hey, what's going on? Why do I feel like something's wrong? You and Su Yu seem to have something going on? Girl. Zhou Lingling wasn't stupid. She noticed that something was wrong and asked mysteriously. What do you mean something? Don't make wild guesses. Mr. Qin might get jealous. Huamin lowered his voice and reminded her. It's true. Hurry up and tell me. How do you know Su Yu? You guys seem to be quite close. Just now, that guy and his friend purposely went easy on you. Even if you played the smallest hand, they wouldn't play a hand. Most importantly, you didn't even want to take the 100,000 chips and gave them to Su Yu. Oh my God, you're full of adultery. Zhou Lingling kept asking. Damn, what adultery? It's not that complicated. When he was recuperating, he was in the area I was in charge of. It's a doctor-patient relationship, understand? Huamin explained. No way. I heard that when Su Yu was recuperating at Southside, he had a scandal with a nurse. That nurse couldn't be you, right? Zhou Lingling asked excitedly as she grabbed Huamin's shoulder as if she had discovered something new. Chapter 522. It wasn't me. Huamin immediately denied. I don't believe you. There's nothing I can do if you don't believe me. Huamin decided not to tell her because Zhou Lingling was too nosy. If he accidentally let it slip, it would cause unnecessary misunderstandings. The two chatted and laughed as they walked forward. After Huamin left the table, she continued to battle and won a lot more. However, she knew that no matter how much she won, she wouldn't be the winner because there would only be 2 players left. So, during the intense battle, Huamin once again met Su Yu. She didn't want to be at the same table as Qin Shu, so she could only battle against Su Yu this time. Wei Liao was already eliminated. Next to Su Yu was a middle-aged man who looked more mature. Sit down, we meet again. Su Yu smiled. He was clearly in a good mood. Huamin sat down. After the cards were dealt, Huamin and Su Yu looked at each other when it was time to call the landlord. This round was very important because one of the 3 of them had to be eliminated, leaving only 2 players left. Is no one going to call the landlord? If no one does, then this round is over and we'll have to deal again, the dealer reminded them. He's calling the landlord. Huamin pointed at Su Yu and said word by word. Me? Su Yu was speechless. Who would call the landlord for someone else? Plus, his cards weren't good. So why did he have to call the landlord? Wasn't he just waiting to lose? If you want to call, hurry up and call, Huamin ordered domineeringly. Okay, I'll call the landlord. Su Yu couldn't resist the temptation of a beauty and finally gave in to Huamin's tyrannical abuse. The dealer was also dumbfounded. After dealing cards for so many years, this was the first time he saw someone call the landlord for someone else. Su Yu's cards were not good, but that uncle's card were also very bad because Huamin's cards were very good. However, she refused to call the landlord because she wanted to join forces with Su Yu to get rid of that uncle. She looked at the chips. She had won about 300,000 yuan, and that uncle had only won 200,000 yuan. Su Yu also had more than 300,000 yuan. If Su Yu won, then she and the uncle would each have half of their winnings. In the end, the person who was eliminated was still the middle-aged man. If he called the landlord and won, Su Yu would be in danger. The other party had deliberately gone along with him the last time, so there was no reason for him not to do him a favor at little cost. As a result, the following situation occurred. A 7. Su Yu played his card. Yes. Little girl, you can't even handle this. The uncle was a little puzzled. Huamin retorted, I'm a dragon. Don't tell me you want me to disassemble the tubes. The uncle was helpless. In the end, it became the uncle versus Su Yu. The strange thing was, Huamin didn't care what the uncle played. Hey, do you know how to play landlord? He's the landlord. If you don't care about him, why do you care about me? The uncle was a little angry. I don't care about him. If you play a dragon, then I'll care about you. The uncle was speechless. Su Yu was speechless. In the end, Su Yu won with a bad hand. Huamin and the uncle each lost more than 50,000 yuan. After one round, the uncle was successfully eliminated. The dealer glanced at them and announced, "You two will face each other. This time, it's 20 points." When Huamin heard that he had to face Su Yu for 20 points, he was slightly surprised. The person who advances will be the second winner of tonight's game. Tomorrow, you will compete with the other winner for the championship, the dealer said. Only then did Huamin realize that he was already in the middle of a crucial game with Su Yu. It seemed like Qin Shu had already swept his opponents and won. 20 points. Do you want to play? Su Yu smiled. Since his opponent was Huamin, he was in a good mood. He probably didn't smile as much as he did today in an entire month. Not far away, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan began to gossip. Look at our Lord Su's mouth. It's about to reach the top. Isn't it just playing cards with Huamin? If it's a date, wouldn't he go to the heavens? Tang Chuan joked. Our Lord Su is spending a lot of money to make a beauty smile. Just watch. He'll definitely lose to Huamin, Wei Liao guessed. Su Yu, Huamin called out in a low voice. Yeah? Don't go easy on me this time. It's a fair battle. Before, Su Yu lost to Huamin on purpose. Huamin also helped Su Yu on purpose, so they were even. Therefore, Huamin thought that it was better to be fair this time. Otherwise, it would be boring. Chapter 523. Okay. Su Yu nodded. Huamin had made it very clear. If he continued to let him win, it would be a bit unreasonable. Su Yu knew that Huamin had a high IQ. Even if he didn't let him win, he would still win. Let's begin, Huamin said as he looked at the dealer. The dealer put on his white gloves and began to deal the card for the two of them. The rules of 20 points were even simpler. Each person would be dealt once. If they had close to 20 points, they would win. Of course, it would be best if they had 20 points. If they overdid it, they would lose. The other party could choose whether they wanted more or not. The dealer first dealt to Su Yu. Su Yu immediately spread it out on the table. It was a red heart 9. The dealer then dealt to Huamin. It was a black heart 6. Su Yu said, "Let's continue." The dealer sent another card with a score of 7. 7 plus 9 was 16, which was very close to 20 points. The dealer then dealt to Huamin. It was a 10. 6 plus 10 was also 16, which was very close to 20 points. Zhu Lingling's heart began to beat wildly. Of course, she was praying that Huamin would win. The dealer looked at the same number and asked Su Yu, "Do you still want a deal? Let's continue." Su Yu said calmly. The dealer dealt another card. It was AK. In 20 points, JQ, KA, and so on. So Su Yu's score was 17. The dealer continued to ask Huamin, "Do you still want a deal?" "Deal." Huamin was also very calm. The onlookers sighed and broke out in a cold sweat for the two of them. The dealer dealt another card to Huamin. It was 3. 16 plus 3, which was 19 points. Zhu Lingling was so excited that she grabbed Gao Ran's collar and said, "Girl, you're going to win." "Big sister, I saw it. I'm not blind, okay?" Gao Ran looked helpless. His collar was wrinkled by Zhu Lingling. The dealer looked at Su Yu. "Do you want to continue?" "Of course." Su Yu was full of confidence. "But you're already 17, sir. If you continue, you might surpass." The dealer gave a friendly reminder. "My opponent is already at 19 points. If I don't continue, I'll still lose, so I might as well take a gamble." The dealer didn't say anything else and continued to send Su Yu another card. Su Yu picked it up and glanced at it. Then he smiled evilly. The moment he spread out the cards, the surroundings exploded. It was also a 3. 17 plus 3, exactly 20 points. Oh my God, it's really 20 points. Young Master Su is so lucky. Yeah, it's amazing. I thought young Master Su would lose for sure. Sounds of discussion could be heard from the crowd. It's over, it's over. She's going to lose. It's too early for me to be happy. Zhu Lingling frowned. It's normal. Calm down. It's good that she loses. What else? Are they going to fight for the championship tomorrow? Gao Ran smiled as he comforted Lingling. Hey, what you said makes sense. The dealer looked at Huamin and asked, "Do you want to continue?" The truth was, Huamin could take a gamble. If the card she sent out was a jack, a ka, and a 1, then it would be a full 20 points. If it exceeded, it wouldn't be a big deal. He would lose anyway. Zhu Lingling thought that with Hua Min's adventurous personality, he would definitely take a gamble. But this time, he didn't. She glanced at the cards and said, "I've lost." Then, she gave all her chips to Suyu, got up, and walked away confidently. Suyu flipped over the card in the dealer's hand. The next card was an ace. In other words, if Huamin continued, she wouldn't lose. He understood Huamin's personality. Any one of the four cards would have been fine. With such a high probability, she shouldn't have given up. Thinking of this, Suyu got up and chased after her. He blocked Huamin's path. What? Huamin looked at Suyu. Didn't you say it was a fair competition? Why did you admit defeat? Suyu asked unhappily. I didn't. A loss is a loss. Impossible. You should have continued. Did you know that card was an ace? But I don't want to bet anymore. I think I lost. Huamin said word by word with her arms crossed. That's impossible. That's not your style. Don't say it like you know me very well. Huamin looked at Suyu seriously and said in an unfriendly tone, Tell me, why did you do that? There has to be a reason. Suyu was very serious and insisted on an explanation. You want a reason? Okay, I'll tell you. Listen carefully. Huamin put down her hands helplessly. Chapter 5:24. Because I don't want to compete with my husband for the championship tomorrow, Huamin slowly said. So that's why. Suyu felt a little suffocated in his heart. Just now, he thought that Huamin purposely went easy on him because she wanted him to win. But now, she said that it was because she didn't want to compete with Qinshu. Sometimes he wanted to find out the truth, but the truth was so cruel. Okay, I got it. Thank you for telling me the truth. Suyu bitterly smiled and turned around in loneliness. The truth was, Huamin didn't feel good either. She didn't want to torture Suyu all the time, but she really didn't want to compete with Qinshu in the finals and win the championship. Qinshu loved her so much that he would definitely lose on purpose. It didn't matter if she or Qinshu won 180 million yuan, but Qinshu represented the entire GK. So, she couldn't do that. So, she conveniently lost to Suyu. To be honest, she knew that if she continued to deal cards, she would have one. She was so close, and there were so many cards in the deck, so the probability was very high. She just didn't think that Suyu would rush out and ask so many questions. Honey, what's wrong? Qinshu walked out of the hallway and saw Huamin leaning against the wall in a daze. Nothing. I'm a little bored, so I want to take a walk on the deck. I'm willing to accompany you, Qinshu said. Then, he held Huamin's hand, and the two of them got on the deck. The boundless sea could always make one's heart open up in an instant. Did you lose on purpose? Yeah. Huamin nodded. Because you don't want to compete with me tomorrow? Qinshu asked again. Yeah. Ha. Silly, it's just a game. Even if the two of us fight tomorrow, it doesn't matter who wins, Qinshu comforted. Huamin turned to look at him and said slowly, Even if it's just a game, I don't want to go against you. Never. After speaking, Huamin threw herself into Qinshu's arms like a child who had been wronged. Qinshu had never seen Huamin like this. His heart ached as he held her in his arms. His hand gently patted her back. It's my fault. I shouldn't have brought you here. If I knew you were so serious, we wouldn't have come. What 180 million? What reputation as the god of gamblers? They can't compare to my wife's happy smile. You only know how to coax me. Huamin raised her head and pinched Qinshu's chin coquettishly. A day passed in the blink of an eye. Perhaps it was because they were on a cruise ship that they had lost track of time. The third day arrived early. Everyone gathered in the central hall, waiting for the final battle. After rounds of elimination and selection, Qinshu and Suyu finally walked onto the stage. The stage was 5 meters long, and 5 well-trained dealers stood on the side, waiting for orders. Today is the last round of the competition. The rules of the game are very simple. Both sides will draw cards and compare points. The winner will win 2 out of 3 games. The winner will get a reward of $30 million. Mr. Lawrence will personally sign the check. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed foreign executive spoke in fluent English, and the audience went into an uproar. It was as if they had been waiting for this moment. I have an additional request. Suyu suddenly raised his hand and interrupted the foreign executive. Oh no, Our Lord Su is going to cause trouble again. Wei Liao slapped his forehead, sweating. Let him cause trouble. He hasn't stopped since he got on the ship. Tang Chuan smiled. Please speak, Mr. Suyu. The foreign executive knew that Suyu had a powerful background, so he was very polite. Suyu looked at Qin Shu across from him and said word by word, If I win, I want President Qin's date to dance with me. After Qin Shu heard what she said, his bright eyes turned dark and deep. Huamin, who was watching from below, was also slightly surprised. He didn't expect Suyu to make such a strange request. When Suyu said that Qin Shu's date is our Huamin, right? Zhu Lingling asked, dumbfounded. If it's not Huamin, then it's you? Gao Ran looked at her with disdain. President Qin, what do you think? Suyu smiled provocatively and asked Qin Shu. Chapter 525. Sure. Qin Shu agreed without hesitation. But, Mr. Su, what if you lose? What are you going to give me in return? Qin Shu asked back. Suyu clenched his hands into fists, placed them under his chin, and said meaningfully, I heard that President Qin loves red wine. I happen to have a bottle of Louis XIV in my collection. If you win, you can have the prize money and the red wine. Okay? Deal. Qin Shu hated it when people used Huamin as a bet, but Suyu was clearly provoking him today. Therefore, he couldn't refuse, because he wouldn't lose to Suyu. It didn't matter if he accepted the bet or not. This Suyu is crazy. Gao Ran frowned and cursed. Huamin didn't say anything. She just watched quietly. If she had known that Suyu was so bold as to make such a request, she wouldn't have let him win. She wouldn't have let Suyu win and advance to the next round. She would have killed him because of yesterday's competition rules. Not far away, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan became excited. Lord Su is really going all out today. We tried to get him to open that bottle of Louis XIV last year on his birthday, but he didn't want to. Let's not talk about how much that wine costs. The point is that you can't buy it, even if you have the money. I can't believe he gambled it away. Tang Chuan was jealous. Why don't you see what he's betting on? He's dancing with Huamin. He wants to dance with his wife in front of her husband. This Lord Su is going to fly into the sky and stand side by side with the sun. Wei Liao sighed. Girl, Suyu really cares about you. Qin Shu must be jealous, Zhu Lingling said as she looked at Huamin. No, my husband won't lose. Huamin was full of confidence. I think that's a good idea. Gao Ran agreed. One of the dealers walked to the middle, picked up the cards, and started shuffling. His technique was very skillful, and he was able to cut the flowers freely, just like a magician. Everyone who saw him cheered repeatedly. After shuffling the cards, the dealer spread them out. Both of you, please draw your cards. You go first. Qin Shu made a gentlemanly gesture. Then I won't be polite. So you smiled mischievously, got up, walked over, and touched it once. He casually took one out and spread it out on the table. It was a 7. It wasn't big, but it wasn't small either. It could only be considered medium. Your turn. Suyu looked at Qin Shu and said indifferently. Qin Shu slowly got up, glanced at the cards, and then took the one at the edge. Finally, he slowly flipped it open. It was 8. Oh yeah, Mr. Qin won this round. Zhu Lingling cheered excitedly. President Qin wins this round, the dealer announced. TSK, TSK. I was so close. I'm not convinced. Suyu shook his head, but his expression was still very relaxed. He's not going to lose, is he? Tang Chuan asked worriedly. No, he's always been lucky. Wei Liao seemed to have complete confidence in Suyu, just like how Gao Ran had confidence in Qin Shu. Round 2 begin, the dealer announced loudly after shuffling the cards. This time, Suyu went first. He didn't even look at it and casually took one out. When he spread it out, everyone looked at it. It was AQ. It's okay this time, it's not small. Tang Chuan was finally relieved. Qin Shu also casually took out a card and spread it out on the table. It was a 10. Suyu won this round. Their expressions were very relaxed, as if this wasn't even a bet, but a game. No one took the 180 million yuan seriously. What they really wanted to bet on was Huamin's dance. Round 3 begin, the dealer announced. Huamin was a bit nervous. She was really afraid that Chu would slip up and lose. After all, Suyu wasn't a pushover. You go first this time, Suyu said. Then I won't hold back. After speaking, Chu walked to the center and looked at the cards for a few seconds. Then, he picked out a card and spread it out on the table. After everyone saw it, someone screamed in surprise. Look, what card did President Qin draw? Oh my God! Someone in the crowd couldn't help but yell. Chapter 526. It was the Ace of Spades, which meant that the biggest number was 15. I'm afraid young Master Su is going to lose for sure. Yeah, young Master Su doesn't look too good. It's the last round. I wonder if young Master Su can get an ace. It'll probably be difficult. Everyone was discussing, and the atmosphere was extremely tense. It's your turn, President Su, the dealer reminded him. Suyu casually walked over and looked at the cards again and again. He picked them up and put them down, and picked them up again. He changed a few cards, and everyone was scared out of their wits. In the end, even he himself was a little impatient. He took one and slammed it on the table. Hey, I'll take this one. Then, he flipped over the card, and everyone was dumbfounded. It was also an ace of hearts. In other words, the third round was a draw. I declare the third round a draw. The dealer looked at it and announced the result. I suggest that both sides take 15 million USD each. Is that okay? The foreign executive stepped forward to be the peacemaker. I'm sorry, but I don't like to tie with others. I like to see who's better and who's better. The winner takes it all. It's either black or white, Suyu said arrogantly. However, it wasn't strange at all. After all, he was Suyu. After all, his surname was Su. He was born to be arrogant. I was thinking the same thing. Chu faintly glanced at Suyu's smug face. If that's the case, why don't we add another round? Please draw your cards again, the executive suggested. Chu walked over, and without even looking, he picked out a card and spread it out. It was an ace of diamonds again. Suyu didn't back down. He walked over, took out a card, and put it on the table. It was an ace of flowers again. 4 aces were chosen by the 2 of them. However, it was still a draw. This kind of rare scene was truly unimaginable. The audience was in an uproar. Everyone was talking about how the 2 of them were car masters. It wasn't a coincidence that they got an ace every time. I didn't expect Suyu to be so strong. Zhu Lingling exclaimed. Do you think the big boss of Imperial Star has a brain for nothing? Qin Shu has met his match this time, Gao Ran muttered. Huamin remained silent as he quietly watched the match. What should we do? Why do we always have the same number? I'm fine with anything. I'll accompany you to the end. Qin Shu looked at Suyu and smiled meaningfully. If that's the case, why don't we let Huamin come up and deal us the cards? Suyu's suggestion once again set off a climax. Letting Huamin deal the cards in place of the dealer. This was the first time in the world. I have no problem with that. Qin Shu naturally agreed. That was his wife. The foreign executive nodded as well. As long as the 2 of you come to an agreement, it's fine. Huamin, is that okay? Suyu tilted her head and looked at Huamin, who was below the stage, and asked in a serious tone. Huamin let go of her hand and slowly walked up the stage. When she walked past Suyu, she heard Suyu whisper, Please, I just want to dance with you. That's all. Huamin sighed softly. She knew that Suyu already knew how good she was. She had complete control over who she dealt the cards to, so it all depended on who Huamin wanted to win. Suyu didn't care about the 180 million yuan prize. All she cared about was dancing with Huamin. But Qin Shu gave Huamin a look which meant, Don't be troubled, I'm fine with anything. Huamin immediately understood the look in his eyes. Okay, let's begin. After the dealer shuffled the cards, he handed them to Huamin. Everyone below the stage held their breaths, waiting for the most exciting moment. Chapter 527. Huamin first dealt a card to Suyu. Then, Suyu picked up the card and glanced at it expressionlessly. He then raised his head and looked at Huamin with a complicated look in his eyes. There seemed to be 1,000 things he wanted to say. Huamin didn't look at Suyu. Instead, he continued to deal cards to Qin Shu. After both of them received their cards, the dealer reminded them, "You can reveal your cards now." Suyu slowly spread out his card. It was a queen. The truth was, when he received the queen, he knew that he was going to lose. There was no ace, so the king was the biggest. Since he received a queen, then the king must be in Qin Chu's hands. As expected, when Qin Chu spread out his card, it was a king of hearts. The crowd was once again in an uproar. Then, thunderous applause. "I declare President Qin the winner. He is the god of gamblers of the night of Lawrence's Pearl," the foreign executive announced. The crowd went wild. Not far away, Wei Liao took out a cigarette. He took a deep puff and didn't say anything. Lord Su lost. He lost to Qin Chu. Tang Chuan was very unhappy. His heart ached for the bottle of Louis XIV. Wrong. He didn't lose to Qin Chu. He lost to Huamin, Wei Liao said with deep meaning. At the last moment, the director of the cruise ship, Lawrence, presented himself. Beside him was the most popular actress in Hollywood. He personally signed a $30 million check to Qin Chu and took a photo with him as a souvenir. When Huamin walked off the stage, he walked past Suyu and said, "I'm sorry." "You're welcome," Suyu replied out of the blue. Then he stood up and left. He didn't participate in this luxurious celebration. After the god of gamblers was decided, Lawrence ordered people to open 100 bottles of champagne. The atmosphere was great. A popular male singer from Europe and America started singing a rock song with a strong rhythm. Zhu Lingling forced Huamin to dance in the crowd. Huamin actually felt very uncomfortable in her heart. Suyu had already opened his mouth to beg her. He only wanted to dance with her. However, she didn't give him a chance and left all the benefits to Qin Chu. Qin Chu walked down the stage and hugged Huamin. "Thank you for your hard work." "Not at all. Thank you, honey. This is what I should do." Huamin chuckled. Qin Chu's victory was her wish. However, why do I always feel inexplicably sorry for Suyu in my heart? Inside the cruise ship suite, "You're tired today. Go to bed early." Wei Liao comforted her. "You sleep first. I'm a bit bored. I want to go out and get some fresh air." "Don't tell me you're going to jump into the sea." Lord Su. "No, I'm not tired of living yet." After speaking, Suyu turned around and walked out of the room. Suyu sat down on a deck chair on the deck. Then, he picked up the bottle of wine he just brought and started drinking. He didn't think he did anything wrong. He just wanted to dance with her. Was it that hard to stand under the spotlight with her, drinking alone? A voice sounded. Suyu turned around and was a bit surprised. "Why are you here?" Hua Xiqian slowly walked over in a bathrobe. "I wanted to come on the first day, but something came up at the company. You know that my old man's youngest son likes to cause trouble. As soon as he came back from the Philippines, he couldn't stop and gave me a lot of trouble. I forced myself to come over. Luckily, I didn't miss the exciting scene." "Haha. Yeah, it was exciting enough." Suyu smiled bitterly. Hua Xiqian poured 2 glasses of wine and handed one to Suyu. Then, he slowly said, "There's nothing to be upset about. You have to get used to it. Mion's feelings for Qin Chu didn't just happen in a day or two. They accumulated over time, understand?" "Yes, I understand." When Suyu said this, he felt a dull pain in his chest. He knew that the person Huamin loved was Qin Chu. It had always been Qin Chu. Why did he still have a sliver of hope? "So, why don't you just let go? Young Master Su, you can get anything you want. Why do you have to tire yourself out?" Hua Xiqian took a sip of wine and looked at Suyu. Chapter 528. "Let go? That's impossible." Suyu took a big gulp of wine. "Why do you have to haha? Once I, Suyu, set my mind on something, I won't give up halfway. I won't play dirty tricks. I'll just take Huamin from her. It's okay if she doesn't like me. I can wait. I can wait for her to divorce, for her to break up with Qin Chu, and for her to slowly fall in love with me. I have a lot of time anyway. It really doesn't matter." After speaking, Suyu took another big gulp of wine. Hua Xiqian could tell that he was in a bad mood. "That little sister of mine, Mion, is a demon. She doesn't have the looks to cause the downfall of cities, nor does she have a powerful background, but she always makes people want to get close to her." Hua Xiqian sighed. "Even if she's a demon, I'm going to marry her. In this lifetime, I won't give up until I marry Huamin." With a pa sound, Suyu threw an empty bottle into the vast ocean. This man seemed to be determined. Despite being thwarted time and time again, he didn't give up. Instead, he became braver and braver. I really have to admire your spirit, haha. Huasiqian laughed maniacally. Don't talk about me. Don't you treat her differently too? So you said openly. Yeah, I like her a lot. Huasiqian didn't hide it. But she's your little sister. Even if you're not a member of the Hua family, you're still related in name. Don't make things worse. I'll take her myself. Ha! I hope you succeed soon. Huasiqian didn't say anything else and only laughed. When he boarded the cruise, he saw Huamin dealing out the cards. Suyu's loss was inevitable. However, he did not expect that Suyu would fall so deeply. He knew that the love between Qin Shu and Huamin was stronger than gold, but he still did not intend to let go. Suyu and Huasiqian were drunk on the deck. When he came down, he was carried back by Wei Liao. Therefore, being friends with young Master Su was very stressful, because he caused trouble for you at any time, and you had to deal with the aftermath. Huamin, dance reveal. Suyu mumbled in his sleep. Damn you. Can you please stop? I've been hanging out with you for a year. I'm already 10 years older. Don't worry about me. Wei Liao scolded as he carried Suyu. However, he did not expect to run into Huamin at the door. Wei Liao didn't know what to say when he saw Huamin. Is he okay? He's fine. He's just drunk. Is he still seasick? Maybe he's not seasick anymore. This is seasickness medicine. I got it from the reception desk. Remember to give him some. Also, if he drinks too much and goes straight to sleep, his brain will be damaged. Why don't you let him take a shower before he goes to sleep? Why do you care so much about him? Wei Liao was confused. Just think of it as me learning from Lei Feng. After speaking, Huamin stuffed the seasickness medicine into Wei Liao's bathrobe pocket, turned around, and left. Wei Liao was speechless during the 3 days on the cruise. Huamin was nervous and excited. When he came down, he suddenly felt relieved. He was afraid that he would miss work, so he went to South Side early in the morning. The local media reported on the cruise without restraint, but they only talked about how GK's president won the God of Gamblers title and the prize money. They didn't talk about anything else. Qin Shu deposited all 120 million yuan in a Huamin's account and got her a Supreme Black Card. That day, GK's stock price skyrocketed by 8 points. That night, as soon as Huamian got off work and entered the house, Qin Shu grabbed her hand and led her out. Honey, where are we going? Go to Dongtao Town with me. There's news. Upon hearing the news from Dongtao Town, Huamin was extremely excited. She held on to Qin Shu's hand and asked, What news? Chapter 529. I sent someone to investigate the health center where you were born. There's an old man guarding the door. He's an honest man, and apparently, he worked at the health center for 10 years. Later, his niece took him to the south to retire. He just came back to Dongtao Town a few days ago. I checked the address and information, and I think it might be useful, Qin Shu said slowly. Huamin was in a great mood, and she immediately grabbed Qin Shu's hand and walked out. Let's not waste any time, let's go. Downstairs, Huamin was confused when she saw Qin Shu get into the Volkswagen CC. We're not driving the Maybach. Wasn't the Maybach faster? Get in first, I'll explain. Qin Shu looked at her. Huamin understood what he meant. She sat in the front passenger seat and fastened her seatbelt. Then, the car slowly drove out of Imperial Park. Because I think there's something fishy about your case. Someone might be trying to sabotage you. So I think we should keep a low profile. Dongtao Town has a population of less than 50,000, and it's not very developed. Mercedes-Benz and BMWs are rare, so I think the Maybach would be too eye-catching. You're so thoughtful. I was too impatient. Huamin felt a chill run down her spine after hearing what Qin Shu said. Perhaps she was too desperate to find her family, so she neglected a lot of things. Qin Shu already said last time that a lot of useful clues and people had mysteriously disappeared or died. Even the archive was burned down by a fire, so she didn't think it was a coincidence. It was very likely that there was a mastermind behind all of this, so the investigation in Dongtao Town couldn't be too big of a deal. First of all, they had to keep a low profile. The Volkswagen CC wasn't slow, so the two didn't take the highway. Instead, they took the road and arrived at Dongtao Town in less than 2 hours. By the time they arrived, the sky was already dark. The town wasn't like the city, where lights were always on after dark. Because of the small population, the few businesses in town all turned off their lights early. Are we going directly to that old man's house? Humin asked nervously. Yes. After making several turns, Chinshu slowly stopped the car at a bungalow area at the edge of the town. We're here. Which house? Humin asked as he looked at the dark house in front of him. The second from the bottom in the last row. Humin looked over according to Chinshu's words and saw a very old house. It was the kind of house that was built with mud bricks. Nowadays, very few people still lived in such houses. The two of them walked on a muddy dirt road and finally arrived at the house. It was already past 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock in autumn was already considered dark in the north. The lights in the surrounding houses were on, but this one was not. It was dark inside, and it looked a little creepy. Something's not right. Be careful of us, Humin whispered to Chinshu, feeling that something was wrong. Okay, you wait here. I'll go knock on the door. No, I'll go with you. Humin was still worried and didn't want to wait here. Instead, she grabbed Chinshu's hand tightly. She wasn't a timid person. When she was in medical school, she could dissect a corpse by herself without feeling anything. In the hospital, she could push a corpse to the morgue by herself. But this time, it was different. It was a very ominous feeling. Seeing that Humin didn't want to go with him, Chinshu had no choice but to take her to the shabby door. Bang, bang, bang. Chinshu knocked on the door 3 times with a lot of force. If there was anyone inside, they would have heard it. Meow, meow, meow. A black cat suddenly jumped out of nowhere. Humin was so scared that she immediately hugged Chinshu tightly. Don't be scared. Excuse me, is Mr. Yang home? Chinshu knocked on the door again and shouted inside. Chapter 530. After a while, there was still no response. Chinshu didn't give up. Just as he was about to push the door open, he heard a voice behind him. Who are you looking for? Humin turned around and saw a tall, dark-skinned boy around 15 or 16 years old. He held a basketball in his hand and was sweating profusely. It seemed like he just came back from playing basketball. Little boy, we're looking for the owner of this house. Have you seen him before? Humin asked politely. We're Grandpa Yang's distant relatives, Chinshu added. You're looking for Grandpa Yang. The little boy's expression was a little strange. He's not home. I heard that he came back a few days ago, Chinshu said. He is dead. The little boy hesitated for a moment and said slowly. What? Dead? Humin and Chinshu both exclaimed at the same time. It happened 2 nights ago. He was supposed to be buried yesterday, but we have a custom here. We can't bury him on the 7th or 8th day of the new year, so we had to wait until tomorrow. Grandpa Yang didn't have many relatives, only a niece in the south. She didn't seem to be doing well, and he didn't have any money. The village chief said that the body should be put in a morgue in town and cremated tomorrow before being buried. How could a person die just like that? Humin was extremely disappointed. She had finally found a clue, but it was strangely cut off. The little boy scratched the back of his head and said, I'm not sure. My mom said that Grandpa Yang committed suicide by drinking drugs because he had no children and couldn't go back to his niece's home. But I don't think so. Grandpa Yang was a very easygoing and optimistic person. The day before he died, he even played chess with me. Humin and Chinshu both fell in a deep silence. Ah Ching, what are you waiting for? Come back for dinner. A woman in her 30s yelled from afar. Okay, Mom. After speaking, the boy turned around and said, I can't talk to you guys anymore. Mom's calling me home for dinner. Thank you, little brother. Humin nodded at him. Seems like we're late. Chinshu said in a low voice. That's right. He actually died. How strange. What do you want to do now? Chinshu asked Humin. I want to take a look at the village head's house. That's what I thought too. Let's go. In the end, Chinshu and Humin did not enter Grandpa Yang's old house. Instead, They inquired about the location of the village head's house and went directly to a big house built with iron tiles at the entrance of the village. This was the village head's man. It was said that the village head's surname was Zhu. He was quite popular and had a good reputation in the village. You two are? You guys, we are Uncle Yang's distant relatives. We heard that he came back a few days ago, so we wanted to visit him. But we heard that he died. What happened? Huamin pretended to be Uncle Yang's relatives according to Qin Chu's explanation. When the village head heard that they were relatives, he seemed to relax a lot and invited them into the house. What kind of relatives are you? Why haven't I heard him mention you before? Didn't he only have one niece? The village head looked at Qin Chu and Huamin in confusion. It's like this. Uncle Yang and my family are old relatives. We haven't seen each other for many years. My parents want to find some relatives in their hometown, so they asked me to come and take a look. I heard that Uncle Yang came back from the south, so I wanted to visit him today. Oh, I see. Then you guys are too late. He's dead. I heard, but what happened? It's too sudden. How'd he die? Qin Chu asked again about the cause of death. Chapter 531. He drank rat poison. To be honest, old Yang took things too hard. It's sad that he has no children, but there's still the government, right? I've already registered him as a low-income household, and he'll get a monthly allowance from the government. A living person won't die from holding his pee in. He just took things too hard. We're all sad. The village chief's eyes were filled with sadness. Why would he drink pesticide out of nowhere? Did they do an autopsy? It was suicide. Wasn't it premeditated murder? Huamin didn't believe it, so he asked the main point. The village chief was slightly shocked. Murder? That's impossible. He must have committed suicide. How are you so sure? Qin Chu asked again. Because he went to the pesticide store in town to buy the rat poison. The store owner admitted it herself. He said that he bought it because there were many rats in his house. Who knew that he drank it himself? Sigh. The village chief sighed heavily after he finished speaking. Qin Chu and Huamin looked at each other in tacit understanding. After he died, did his niece come back? Qin Chu remembered that Uncle Yang had a relative. I told her, but I don't think she'll come. Why? Huamin asked. To be honest, Uncle Yang went to the south for many years. We thought he was there to retire, but we heard that his niece's marriage changed. Her husband cheated on her, and they divorced. His niece had no choice but to remarry. However, the family she remarried to had only one request. They could take care of the children, but not the old ones. I heard that they were very strict with his niece and didn't even give her money. She didn't even have travel expenses, so how could she return? Old Yang's body is in a hospital's cold storage. Tomorrow morning, I'll get someone to take his body away and cremate it. The cost of the cremation was raised by the villagers. How pitiful. Now, Qin Chu and Huamin understood why Uncle Yang suddenly came back from the south. It turned out that his niece's family changed and she remarried. She couldn't tolerate him, so Uncle Yang didn't want to delay her remarriage. She came back to the north alone, but there was no reason for her to commit suicide. After coming back, it wasn't like they couldn't live anymore. The country treated lonely old people pretty well, and they could maintain their livelihood. He had only been back for less than a week, and yet he had committed suicide. Huamin felt that it was a little unreasonable. Chief, has his body been examined? Yes, it's the rat poison. Have the police investigated the scene? Are there any traces of other people? For example, footprints or fingerprints? Huamin asked again. Miss, isn't your question funny? Since it was already confirmed that she had committed suicide, what was the point of doing that? Besides, Huamin and old Yang get along very well. He has no grievances with us, so why would anyone want to harm him? Also, there's no benefit to be gained from doing so. Don't bully me because I'm a farmer who doesn't study much, but there's still a motive to kill, right? The village chief felt that Huamin's question was a little ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm just asking. After all, we don't feel good if we can't find Uncle Yang. It's okay, I can understand. By the way, judging by your clothes, you must be from the city, right? Where are you from? The village chief didn't know if he asked this intentionally or not, Qin Shu pressed down on Huomin's hand and said, "We're from T-City. We're just running a small business in the city." "Oh, old Yang is really unlucky. If you guys had come earlier, if he knew that he had relatives, he wouldn't have killed himself," the village chief said slowly. Qin Shu quietly took out his wallet and took out 10,000 yuan and handed it to the village chief. "Chief, take this as the cost for tomorrow's cremation. Use the rest to find a good grave for Uncle Yang. I hope he can rest in peace." This? The village chief seemed to be shocked by the 10,000 yuan. "Take it, chief. Sorry for troubling you. We still have things to do, so I'm afraid we won't be able to attend the funeral tomorrow," Qin Shu added. Okay. Don't worry. I'll take care of it properly." The village chief took the 10,000 yuan with trembling hands and promised again. When they left the village chief's house, it was almost 10 at night. The village chief was very enthusiastic and asked his wife to cook a few dishes for them. However, Huomin and Qin Shu didn't eat. After getting into the car, Qin Shu asked, "Honey, how much of the village chief's words do you believe?" "Half," Huomin replied calmly. "What? Do you suspect that there's something wrong with him?" Huomin looked at Qin Shu and continued to ask. Chapter 532. We can't say for sure yet. There are too many suspicious points. Are we leaving the village now? Aren't we going to check out Uncle Yang's old house? Huomin thought about the creepy old house. Although she was scared, she still wanted to check it out. What if there were clues? Qin Shu shook his head. It's too risky. If Uncle Yang really was murdered, then the killer is probably still watching the old house right now. We're outsiders, and it's already very suspicious that we're visiting the village. If we enter the house, we'll alert the killer. Plus, if he killed us, why would he leave any evidence behind? I just can't accept it. Huomin understood what Qin Shu said, but she was right. She just couldn't accept it. It wasn't easy for her to get close to her biological parents, but it was cut off again. It was a terrible feeling. Qin Shu drove with one hand and patted the back of Huomin's hand with the other. "I know, Mian, you have to stay calm. All the mysteries will be solved one day. As long as I'm alive, I'll do everything I can to help you find your biological parents so that you can reunite with them as soon as possible." Maybe they don't want to see me. Huomin began to feel depressed. It was rare for her to feel so depressed. "They won't. They'll be happy to have such a cute daughter." Qin Shu comforted her. "Honey, can I still find them?" Huomin wasn't confident. "Of course, as long as you want to, you can." Huomin didn't say anything, and the car silently drove on the small country road. The two originally planned to leave Dongtao town, but when they were a few hundred meters away from town, they stopped at a gas station to fill up. Huomin suddenly said, "Honey, leave the car here. We'll take a taxi back." "What's wrong?" Qin Shu looked at her in confusion. "If someone is watching us, they should know that we have left because they saw our car leave. If we take a taxi and go back halfway, no one will notice." "But why are we going back?" "There's no point. The clues have been cut off. I have other things to do." Huomin smiled mysteriously. Qin Shu looked at her. "Don't tell me you want to go to the morgue to dissect Uncle Yang's body?" "No. No matter what, Grandpa Yang's death is definitely not suicide. I already firmly believe that." "Why? What if it was really suicide?" "I've never believed in coincidences. I only believe in inevitability. So, Uncle Yang's death was not a coincidence. It was carefully planned." Huomin was almost certain. "Honey, I like how confident you are." As Qin Shu watched Huomin calmly analyze the situation, he suddenly felt that the extremely quick-witted woman had returned. He was instantly in good mood. "Let's go." "Yes." The two left the CC at a gas station and took a taxi back to Dongtao town. There was a hotel in Dongtao town, and it was also the only hotel in the town. It was called the Minkong Hotel. Usually, there weren't many people there. Occasionally, a truck would stop by to rest. Business wasn't great, but it was still manageable. The decor was very old, and the floor area wasn't very big. When the two arrived at the Minkong Hotel, they saw a woman in her 40s wearing slippers and watching TV at the bar. "Madam, do you have a room?" Huomin asked with a smile. "Yes. How many rooms do you want?" "One." Give me your ID. I'll register it. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're on a business trip and didn't bring our IDs with us. Can we stay if we don't bring our IDs? Huamin said awkwardly. Actually, she and Qin Shu both brought their IDs, but they would never take them out because they wouldn't leave any evidence behind. Chapter 533. You didn't bring any? That won't do. You can't stay here without an ID card. They've been very strict recently. When the lady boss heard Huamin say that he didn't bring any, she immediately waved her hand and refused. Lady boss, can you please make an exception? We're really tired. We want to rest here for one night. Just one night is fine. I really can't. They're too strict. We're also afraid that they'll investigate. Do you know that they'll fine us? The lady boss didn't look at Huamin. She just kept eating sunflower seeds and watching TV. She seemed a little unreasonable. Qin Shu didn't say anything. He believed that Huamin had a way to deal with this kind of situation. As expected, Huamin took out 500 yuan notes from his pocket and placed them on the bar counter. What are you doing? The lady boss was immediately attracted by the money. Big sister, please make an exception. Can we give you 500 yuan for one night? When Huamin came in, he glanced at the prices at the door. The rooms here weren't divided into different tiers. There were only 6 rooms, and each room was 88 yuan. Therefore, if Huamin paid 500 yuan at once, it was equivalent to booking the entire hotel. The lady boss looked hesitant. If you don't agree, then we'll have to go to the next town. As he spoke, Huamin wanted to take the money back. The lady boss immediately pressed down on Huamin's hand. All right, stay here. But if someone comes to investigate later, you'll have to say that you're our relatives. Don't say that you're a guest, okay? Okay, thank you, big sister. In order to get closer, Huamin kept calling her big sister. Then, the two went up to the second floor. The innermost room was less than 10 square meters, and there was only one bed. There wasn't even a private bathroom. The bathroom was for public use. It was at the entrance of the second floor. It was very small and simple. However, in a place like this, the environment could only be like this. Honey, you insisted on coming back just to spend 500 yuan to stay in this small hotel? Qin Chu smiled at Huamin. 500 yuan was probably enough to stay in a 4-star hotel with a better environment. Don't worry, don't I have my reasons? What's the reason? Let's hear it. Qin Chu didn't know what Huamin wanted to do, but she definitely had a better idea. Since ancient times, inns have always been the best place to gather information. Because there are so many people coming and going, information is dense. So, I plan to give it a try and see if I can get anything out of this lady boss. All right, then I'll leave the rest to you. Qin Chu was a man, so it was inconvenient for him to show up. After getting a room, they could only lie down in the room and bide their time. Otherwise, if the two of them went, they were afraid that the lady boss would be on guard. Then I'll go out and have a chat. Be careful. Qin Chu was still worried. I know. Huamin turned around and walked downstairs. Just then, the door of the room next door opened. A burly man with a dark face walked out in a pair of large underpants. His upper body was bare, and he was even holding a foot basin. When he saw Huamin, he froze. Huamin ignored him and went downstairs. Then, she moved a small stool and sat down in front of the bar. Miss, you don't have air conditioning here. It's pretty hot upstairs, so I came down to cool off. Huamin said as she picked up the fan on the bar. It wasn't hot in September, but the room in the inn was too small and the windows were small, so it was stuffy. This place doesn't have air conditioning. It's not like the hotels in the big cities. Plus, 88 yuan is already a good deal. It's not even enough to cover the electricity bill. We don't know how to install air conditioning. You're right. Huamin smiled. Then, she glanced at the TV show that the lady boss was watching. It turned out to be a very popular web series called Yuzue. It was said to be a highly intelligent and brain-burning show with a good plot. Miss, you like to watch these kinds of police and gangster shows too? Huamin looked at her in surprise. Chapter 534. Yeah, I watch it for fun. My daughter introduced it to me. She said all her classmates were watching it. Since we installed an internet connection last year, I decided to watch a few episodes for fun. Big sister, you look very young. How old is your daughter? Huamin asked casually. Take a guess. The big sister seemed to be in a good mood. Is she 15? Huamin asked softly. Huh, she's almost 25. That's old, but you look so young. Huamin was sweating profusely. I'm not young anymore. I'm 45. People here get married early. I got married when I was 19 and had a child when I was 20. No wonder. Haha, that's quite a coincidence. Your daughter is about the same age as me. I'm almost 25. My mother is a little older. She's almost 50. Huamin chatted casually. At that moment, the dark-skinned man came downstairs and gave the lady boss a look. The lady boss stood up and walked over. The two of them talked about something and looked at each other a few times. Huamin felt that it had something to do with him, so he became even more vigilant. In the end, the lady boss said something to the man, and the dark-skinned man turned around and went upstairs unhappily. Is it your husband? Big sister? How is that my husband? He's a truck driver. He's staying here overnight. The lady boss immediately denied. Huamin smiled faintly and didn't ask any more questions. He found a topic and asked, Big sister, when you gave birth, it was a natural birth, right? Did it hurt? What did you give birth? Huamin thought that the woman's daughter was about the same age as her. If she also gave birth in the town's hospital, then wouldn't he be able to take the opportunity to ask about what happened back then? My daughter was not even a month old, and I accidentally slipped and fell, so I gave birth prematurely. The hospital in our town did not have any skills, and those doctors had not seen the world, so they did not dare to accept me. So my husband called a tricycle and sent me to the hospital in the city. After a day and a night, I finally gave birth. After that, I thought that I would only give birth to this one, and I would not have a second child even if I was beaten to death. Big sister, you only have one daughter. That's right. He's the only one. The old woman was quite proud. That's good. It's a lighter burden to have a child. Nowadays, raising a child requires a lot of energy and money. Little sister, you speak so well. You must be from the city. Your husband is so handsome. The lady boss smiled. That's right. I follow my husband because he was so handsome. Huamin laughed. You're so lucky. I really envy you. You're young, pretty, and have such a good husband. Big sister, have you lived here for a long time? Yeah, it's been more than 20 years since I married. Do you know Dr. Lon? Which Dr. Lon? The lady boss asked absent-mindedly as she watched the TV series. The Dr. Lon who delivered the baby at the hospital. The lady boss's expression changed slightly when she heard this. Then, she looked at Huamin in confusion. Why are you asking about her? It's like this. Dr. Lon delivered my aunt's baby when she gave birth. Now, she wants a replacement birth certificate. The police station needs the hospital stamp, and it has to be the hospital where she was born. At that time, there was no birth certificate, only a piece of paper. I saw that it was signed by Dr. Lon. Now, I want to ask if they can give me a replacement birth certificate because that one has expired. I see. Then it's going to be tough. The lady boss shook her head. Chapter 535. What's wrong? Did Dr. Lon retire? Huamin asked on purpose. She didn't retire. She moved away. Her whole family moved away. Moved away? Where did they move to? I'm not sure. It has become one of the 3 unsolved mysteries in our town. I really don't understand. If you want to move, just move. Why do you have to be so secretive? They don't want the house, they don't want the furniture, and they didn't even take their clothes. I don't know what happened. It's really strange. You're saying, when Dr. Lon left, the house wasn't sold, the furniture was still there, and the clothes were still there. Only the people were gone, right? Yeah, it's so strange. No one knows where they went. Even now, their house is still empty. There's even grass growing in the yard. Oh, I see. Sis, what are the other 2 unsolved mysteries in your town? I'm just curious. I always want to hear interesting gossip. The other 2 mysteries are about the strange fire at the hospital. That fire, was there anything strange about it? Of course. It caught on fire in the middle of the night. No one could put it out. The fire was very strange. The strangest thing was that the other rooms were fine. Only the archives room caught fire. In the end, all the records were destroyed. The hospital had to rebuild the archives. Luckily, no one died. The fire was so scary that my husband and I went to the scene. You're saying the fire couldn't be put out? How's that possible? Huamin smiled. It's true. You might not believe me even if I tell you, but the fire couldn't be extinguished by water. It kept burning and burning until it was extinguished by itself. The elders said that there was a monster in the room, a spider spirit or something like that. They said that it was a heavenly fire that was used to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens and destroy those monsters. Haha, that's an interesting legend. What about the other one? Huamin continued to ask. The other one, the shop owner was about to say when a man walked in. He saw a man in his 40s walk in. He was thin and wore a black shirt. What nonsense are you talking about? You're back. The shop owner asked intimately. Huamin guessed that this was the boss's husband. The girl who came to stay in our inn is very curious, so I'll tell her some things about her town. What's there to talk about in town? Shut your mouth. The man seemed unhappy. I'm just chatting. Do you have to be like this? You go to sleep, I'll watch the rest of the night. After that, the man walked to the bar counter and turned off the lady boss's computer. Boss Nian seemed to be a little afraid of her husband. She smiled awkwardly and then greeted Huamin. You should go back and sleep too. Bye-bye, big sister. Huamin felt that it was a pity that she did not hear the third unsolved mystery, but she vaguely felt that it was related to the hospital. It all seemed to be related to what had happened back then. An unquenchable fire? This is really interesting. I didn't come here in vain. After returning to the room, Huamin tiredly walked over and threw herself into Qin Shu's arms. Just as she was about to speak, she heard a loud noise coming from next door. Then there was the sound of a human body rubbing against each other. It was very clear that it was coming from the room next door. Huamin suddenly thought of the black-faced man. Then she imagined all kinds of scenarios. Ahem. The soundproofing here isn't very good, right? Huamin smiled awkwardly. Qin Shu laughed and pinched Huamin's face. He deliberately teased her. How about we do it again? Chapter 536. Come my ass. I'm dog-tired. Let's go to sleep. After speaking, Huamin didn't even take off her clothes. Instead, she snuggled into Qin Shu's arms and closed her eyes. That's a good idea. This place is too small for some positions. Qin Shu smiled. Huamin closed her eyes, raised her fist, and punched Qin Shu again. You're so dirty, Mr. Qin. Go to sleep. Honey, did you? Qin Shu wanted to ask her what she got from downstairs for so long. However, Huamin suddenly opened her eyes and gave him a look. Qin Shu understood and immediately changed the topic. You were chatting downstairs for so long. I missed you. Okay. Let's go to sleep. We still have to travel tomorrow. Then, the two of them slept through the night. The truth was, Huamin didn't sleep well. She couldn't sleep well, as if a pair of eyes were constantly watching her. Later, she was so sleepy that she took a nap and had a strange dream. She dreamed that Uncle Yang was sitting in front of an old house with a black cat in his arms. Then he suddenly fell to the ground and died. Then she saw a figure standing in front of the old house. She couldn't tell who it was. Huamin wanted to chase after the figure. After running for a long time, she finally woke up. 6 a.m. Huamin and Qin Shu got up and left the motel in a hurry. They didn't even eat. After changing their car at the gas station, Huamin bought 2 loaves of bread and 2 bags of milk. She took them to the car and gave one to Qin Shu. You didn't tell me yesterday because you were afraid that someone was watching us? Huamin nodded. I can't guarantee that there aren't any surveillance cameras there. After all, technology is advanced these days. The owner's wife is very good at using computers. Did you find anything? Let me tell you something first. That motel is basically a den for prostitutes. What? Qin Shu almost spat out the milk in his mouth. Really, I'm not joking. How did you find out? Qin Shu found it difficult to digest such a large amount of information. First of all, Dongtao Town doesn't have a lot of mobile heat sources, so their hotel won't have any business at all. Secondly, when I went out yesterday, a big man with a dark face came out from next door. He looked at me strangely, and when I went downstairs, he followed me and even pulled the owner's wife aside to have a chat. They spoke very softly, but I can read lips. I know that. You don't have to show off. Chin Chu smiled. Homie knew how to read lips 7 years ago. Once, someone from the University of Public Security specially came over to poach Huamin to help with a case in the Criminal Investigation Department. This was because she knew sign language, lip reading, and other very strange languages. Moreover, other people would need several years to learn these, but she only needed less than 2 months. That man asked the owner's wife if I was new and how much it cost, and the owner said I was a guest. The man then said that he wanted to do something to a guest, but the owner said that I didn't come alone and told him not to cause trouble. So that black hole ball wanted to do something to you? Chin Chu's face immediately darkened. If he knew, he would have crippled him. Yeah, but the owner's wife talked him out of it. It seems like they're regular customers. Didn't you hear something last night? Although I didn't see a woman, it was definitely a prostitute provided by the owner's wife. Okay, even if you guessed right, this has nothing to do with you. You went down for so long. Didn't you ask anything? Of course not. I couldn't help but ask, and I got a lot of valuable information. Huamin smiled proudly. For example, Chin Chu looked at her. For example, I suspect that Dr. Land's family didn't move at all. They were murdered. Murder? Chin Chu frowned slightly. This was a lot of information. A family of 3 was murdered? That was crazy. Chapter 537. Homi nodded. According to the owner, Dr. Land's family didn't sell their house, didn't move their furniture, and didn't even take their clothes. It's as if they disappeared into thin air. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean they were killed. Maybe they left because of an emergency? Chin Chu didn't agree with Huamin's point of view. That's possible, but I think it's very unlikely. Think about Uncle Yang's death. You should know that the murderer isn't a kind person. If he didn't even let an old man go, why would he let Dr. Lan, the main witness? Don't forget that Dr. Lan was the main person involved in the whole incident. She's dead, so there's no evidence. I don't think a murderer who could quietly kill Uncle Yang and make it look like a suicide would be stupid enough to let Dr. Lan and her family escape. After Huamin finished his analysis, Chin Chu sucked in a breath of cold air. You're so meticulous. I overlooked the connection between the 2 cases. You're right. A suspect who could even kill an old man is a kind person. But everything depends on evidence. Should we go to Dr. Land's old house and take a look? Of course not. Unless it's absolutely necessary, we can't return to this town. Why? Seeing how cautious Huamin was, Chin Chu was a bit doubtful. Because there are too many eyes in this town and too many suspicious people. We don't know who is trustworthy, so we can't take the risk. If we find a new witness, we have to find her before that person kills her. Otherwise, we might be killed again. The owner's husband, that man, although I haven't interacted much with him, he's very strange. How so? Huamin thought for a moment and carefully recalled. My sixth sense, a woman's sharp intuition. I feel like that person isn't as simple as he seems. Plus, it was the first time we met, and he didn't seem friendly to me. I feel like something's wrong. Maybe you're too nervous. Chin Chu comforted. Maybe, but I'm sure of one thing. What? The fire that burned down the archives of the health center was definitely man-made. Not only was it man-made, but it was also done by someone who knows a lot about chemistry. Oh, why do you say that? This was something that Chin Chu did not expect. Huamin looked at Chin Chu with a smile. The owner told me that the fire was very strange. He couldn't even extinguish the fire when he tried. That's why the old man said that it was a fire from the heavens, a fire meant to burn monsters to death. That's how the rumor spread. However, the owner's wife also witnessed the fire with her own eyes. She also said that the fire grew bigger after she watered it. It was very scary. Do you think, under those circumstances, the more she watered, the bigger the fire became? I understand now. The person who set the fire is someone who understands the principles of chemistry. He stored some chemical substances in the place where the fire started, such as potassium, sodium, magnesium, calcium carbide, quicklime, and other flammable substances. Because these substances react when they come into contact with water, not only did the fire not go out, it grew bigger and bigger. The people who didn't know the inside story thought it was some kind of heavenly fire. Yes, that's it. Hwami nodded. I didn't expect so many strange things to happen in a small town. Mian, I have a feeling that your biological parents are not ordinary people. Their identities might be very complicated. Chin Chu guessed as he looked at Hwamin. I have that feeling too, Hwamin said uneasily. But no matter what, I will help you find them. Don't worry. Chin Chu comforted him again. When the two returned to Sea City, they went straight to their respective workplaces. Hwamin had just arrived at Southside when he heard a nurse say, Head nurse, Deputy Director will want you to go to his office. Okay. Hwamin nodded. He hurriedly changed into his white lab coat and walked upstairs to the Deputy Director's office. Chapter 538. Hwamin knocked on the door and walked in. Deputy Director Wu was leisurely sipping his tea. Unlike President Wu, he had a glib tongue. He was a wily old fox with a lot of schemes. Hwamin didn't like his personality, but he had no choice since he was an old employee. Moreover, he was a senior executive, so Hwamian had to deal with him. Hwamian, you're here. Deputy Director Gua, you were looking for me? Come sit down. His politeness made Hwamin a little uneasy. Hwamin sat down calmly. Deputy Director Gua put down the teacup in his hand and said slowly, Hwamin, you've been at Southside for a while now, and your performance has been outstanding. As a leader, I admire your work attitude and dedication, but Hwamin knew that Deputy Director Gua was implying something. He wouldn't praise her. But you've been taking a lot of time off recently. Sometimes you didn't even apply in advance and just took 3 days off. You know how busy Southside is, and we're short on manpower. You're making things difficult for me, especially since President Wu approved your leave. But think about it. President Wu is in charge of the first hospital, and I'm in charge of Southside. So, if you have any problems in the future, you can just tell me. You don't have to bother President Wu. After all, he's so busy every day, and he doesn't want to take care of small things like this. What do you think? Hwamin laughed in her heart when she heard that. So, it turned out that Deputy Director Gu didn't give him any face because she took a leave of absence. However, Chin Chu was the one who approved her leave for 3 days on Yunding Mountain, and this time on Gamble God. Okay? She didn't even have time to ask for leave. However, Hwamin didn't want to argue with Deputy Director Gua, so she nodded and said, Deputy Director Gua, you're right. I'll keep that in mind. Okay, I won't argue with you about this. After all, you've been here for less than a year, so there are a lot of things that you don't know. You'll understand soon enough. Okay, Hwamin nodded. Deputy Director Gua glanced at Huiyao and said, Huiyao, I've been renovating my new house recently, and I'm short on funds. I need about 2 million yuan. Can you lend me some of the money from the Hua Foundation? Consider it a loan. I'll fill in the money as soon as I have enough. I promise I won't delay your work. What do you think? After Deputy Dean Gua finished speaking, Hwamin suddenly realized that criticizing him for asking for leave was just an excuse. That was their real motive. Did they want to touch the Hua Corporation's money? Ha! Vice Director, I won't lie to you. I don't have the right to touch the Hua Foundation's money. Moreover, it's such a large sum. Every time I want to move the money, I have to go through Mr. Hua Xiqian directly. How about this? I'll give him a call and tell him about your situation. I believe that with your relationship with President Hua, 2 million won't be a problem. Then, Hwamin picked up his phone and pretended to make a call. However, Deputy Director Gua immediately stopped him. No. Don't bother President Hua with such a small matter. Huh, he's so busy every day. Why don't I think of something else to do with the renovations? Sure, but if you need any help, remember to let President Hua know. As long as President Hua agrees, I'll approve the money immediately. Hwamin smiled slightly. Okay. Thank you for your hard work. Huiyao, you can leave now. After sending Huamin away, Deputy Director Guo's expression was extremely unpleasant. Brother-in-law, I told you that this bitch isn't easy to deal with. It wasn't easy for us to get the Hua Foundation to help us, but we can't even get a single cent out of it. What the hell? Director Chi suddenly walked out of the office. Huamin isn't an easy person to deal with. He's very cunning. Deputy Director was said slowly with a dark expression on his face. Brother-in-law, this woman is blocking our path to wealth. She really doesn't know what's good for her. How about I get someone to teach her a lesson? Director Chi asked with shifty eyes. Chapter 539. That's ridiculous. Do you know who she is? How dare you touch her? Isn't she just an illegitimate daughter of the Hua Corporation? I heard that she doesn't have a good relationship with the Hua Xiqian. I don't know what's wrong with Hua Xiqian's head that made her the president of the foundation. Seriously, not only is she the illegitimate daughter of the Hua Corporation, but she's also someone that Wu Zhongxing values. I believe that old man, Wu Zhongxing, wouldn't help someone for no reason. She must have some unknown background. What background? Is she Wu Zhongxing's mistress? Director Chi said with disdain. That's none of your business. Just don't act rashly. Brother-in-law, you're being too careful. She's only in her 20s. What can she do? She must have found a sugar daddy to replace her VW with an Audi R8. Which nurse at Southside hasn't been with a rich man before? Otherwise, how could she drive a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW with her pathetic salary? That woman Huamin looks like an upright person, but she's actually a gold digger. Otherwise, where would she get her sports car from? I heard that a while ago, when young Master Su was recuperating here, there were rumors about them. Su Deputy Director Guo was slightly surprised. Yeah, but I think Su Yu is tired of her now. After all, she's not a stunning beauty, and he's just looking for something new. You don't know that men like women who can't be conquered. Huo Mian's arrogant look probably caught young Master Su's eye, but I didn't hear anything else. It's probably just a one-time thing. If you ask me, this woman, you should set a trap for her and get her into bed. Once she's in bed, she'll listen to everything you say. She'll listen to you. All you know is bed, bed, bed. You'd better behave yourself these days. Don't let anyone catch you. Don't mess around with those young nurses. You might die on a woman one day. Oh, I know, brother-in-law. Director Chi looked impatient. The two of them wanted to touch Huamin's money, but they got nothing because Huamin was an extremely stubborn woman. Minister Chi had once hinted to Huamin that if he was willing to help them, he would give Huamin a 30% commission. However, Huamin had directly rejected him. Although Hua Xiqian wasn't a good person, since he asked her to manage the fund, she had to manage it well. After all, those were life-saving donations. After being scolded by Vice Dean Guo, Huamin returned to his office to organize the materials. Head nurse, is it time for ward rounds? All right. Head nurse, a new patient was admitted to room 1 yesterday. He injured his ankle while playing basketball. It's not a big deal, but his family seems to be very rich. They've been stressing about giving him the best treatment plan. They even prepared 2 orthopedic specialists for 24 hours a day. There are people like that. Huamin was a bit speechless. If his family is so rich that they can afford to hire specialists to treat him, why would he come to us for treatment? Huamin didn't understand their logic at all. We thought it was strange too, but no one dared to ask. The patient doesn't seem to have a good temper. Bad temper? Don't tell me Su Yu is back again. Huamin had a bad feeling. It's not young Master Su. When a nurse heard Huamin's name, she blushed slightly and said shyly, "That's good." Hearing that it wasn't Su Yu, Huamin was relieved. Huamin led the 2 nurses to room 1 with Hua Min's medical record. Looking at the name on the medical record, she vaguely felt like it was familiar, but she couldn't remember where. Tang Chuan? I think I've heard this name before, Huamin mumbled. Then, the nurse knocked on the door and pushed it open. When Huamin saw the person, he immediately remembered that this person was Su Yu's friend. He always hung out with someone named Wei Liao. Hey, head nurse, you're just in time. My leg hurts. Hurry up and take a look at it. At this moment, Tang Chuan was munching on an apple as he watched EXO's concert on TV. He seemed to be in a good mood and didn't look like his leg was hurting at all. Chapter 540. I think you're in better spirits than most people. You don't look like you have leg pain at all. Huomin walked over and looked at Tang Chuan with a file in her hand. My spirit and my leg shouldn't conflict. I'm an optimist. Even if my leg is broken, I'll eat and drink as I should. Huomin ignored the talkative man and looked down at his medical record. She sprained her ankle while playing basketball. This was actually a very small matter. She went to find a Chinese massage practitioner, and she would be fine after resting for a period of time. Why did he have to come to Southside in such a big way? Was he here to burn money? Huomin closed the file and looked at Tang Chuan with her black-rimmed glasses. I've looked at your medical record. You don't need to come to Southside for treatment. You could just rest at home. Are you sure you want to occupy a bed here? What are you talking about? I have money, and I'm happy to stay here. What's wrong with occupying a bed? I'll come to Southside for treatment, even if I have a small cold, let alone an ankle injury. I have money, and I can do whatever I want. Tang Chuan had heard Wei Liao say a long time ago that Huomin was a very strange woman. So, he wanted to take the opportunity to exchange a few moves with her and see what she was capable of to make Su Yu so infatuated with her. Huomin didn't get angry when she heard what he said. Instead, she came back to her senses and ordered, "Get ready to draw blood from the patient in room 1. I suspect that his foot has various inflammatory lesions. Be careful. Draw 6 tubes and do a detailed examination." "Yes, head nurse." "Hey, wait a minute. Why do we need to draw blood? And so much blood?" Tang Chuan's expression immediately changed. He put down the apple in his hand and was no longer in the mood to eat. "This is Southside's policy. For the sake of the patient, we have to give you a comprehensive examination. This is responsible for your health. Huomin, you're abusing your position to get revenge. I want to file a complaint against you." "You are welcome to complain." Then, Huomin said to another nurse, "The patient in room 1 is emotionally unstable. I suspect that he has symptoms of mania. Go to the psychiatry department and get a doctor to come over and do a mental evaluation on him. If there is no problem, he can continue to stay in the orthopedics department. If there is a problem with the psychiatry department, then ask him to transfer to another department." With that, Huomin gracefully turned around. In just a few minutes of confrontation, Tang Chuan thought that Huomin would be rendered speechless by his words. But who knew? Oh heavens, oh earth, he had really been tricked by Wei Liao this time. Wei Liao said that if he deliberately sprained his ankle and stayed here for a few days, so you would come to visit him and take the opportunity to create more opportunities for the two of them to meet. But this opportunity to meet was above all his pain and suffering. Not only did he have to do a blood test, but he also had to do a mental evaluation. Oh my God. He immediately took out his phone and yelled at the group chat with only 3 people. "I want to be discharged from the hospital immediately. Huomin, that woman, is too fucking scary." After Wei Liao heard this, he laughed maniacally. "For Lord Su's love career, you sacrificed your life heroically. We will always remember you. Hero, don't talk nonsense with me. Why don't you come and stay for a few days? I've been tricked by you this time." Tang Chuan thought that no matter how powerful Huomin was, she was just a woman. How good could she be? If he was tortured like this today, how could he live in the future? Seeing that Su Yu didn't respond, Tang Chuan yelled again, "Lord Su, can you please go after another woman? This girl is really not suitable for you. If you marry her, you'll be tortured to death." 3 seconds later, Su Yu replied. It was a text message with only 3 words, "I do." Tang Chuan was completely speechless. He couldn't back down now. At night, Huomin was embarrassed because she had been on leave for a few days, so she volunteered to work night shifts for a week. She gave a few of her assistant nurses the same day off. She was sitting at the on-call desk when she suddenly saw a cup of hot milk tea placed in front of her. She looked up and saw the man in front of her with phoenix eyes, a feminine face, and a devilish smile. "Head nurse, your milk tea." Su Yu smiled. Chapter 541. Why are you here? Huomin wasn't surprised to see Su Yu. After Tang Chuan was hospitalized, Huamin was no longer surprised. She knew that Su Yu would definitely come. My buddy is hospitalized in your department. I know, Tang Chuan, right? Huamin took a sip of the milk tea. Yeah, that's him. With his condition, he doesn't need to be hospitalized. Was it your idea to come here? Huamin asked straightforwardly. Would you believe me if I said it wasn't my idea? Su Yu looked at Huamin seriously. The truth was, it really wasn't his idea this time. With his temper, if he wanted to see Huamin, he would have sprained his ankle himself. Tang Chuan came because he accidentally hurt his ankle when he was playing basketball with Wei Liao. Tang Chuan wanted a traditional Chinese massage. However, Wei Liao had an idea. He said that he might as well go with the flow and stay at Southside. It would give Lord Su a chance to see Huamin. Just like that, Lord Su came to Southside by accident and committed a lot of crimes. Huamin didn't answer him. She didn't want to discuss anything with Su Yu so seriously. Therefore, she deliberately changed the topic. The milk tea tastes good. It's very pure. If you like it, I'll buy it for you every day. Su Yu stared at her face. Huamin actually didn't dare to look into Su Yu's eyes, because when Su Yu became serious, she really didn't know what to say. That day on Gamble God, she broke his heart and didn't even give him a chance to dance with her. She thought that he would give up, but who knew that he didn't care about the past and continued to be nice to her. This troubled Huamin and put her in a difficult position. Su Yu, you don't have to do this. Between us, I know what kind of relationship we have. Don't worry, I won't make things difficult for you. It's my business that I'm good to you. It's your business if you don't accept it. There won't be any conflict. But, Su Yu, you have to know that I'm already married. Huamin reminded Su Yu again as she held the hot milk tea in her hands. I know. Su Yu smiled bitterly. So, you know that some things are. Huamin, you don't have to remind me again and again. I know my place, and I know how you feel about me. Right now, I just want to be good to you. I don't want anything from you, and I don't want anything from you. I'm a free-spirited person, and everything I like depends on my mood. If I'm happy, then I'll be happy when I buy you milk tea. That's my mood, and I cherish this mood because no one has made me this happy in over 20 years, so just think of it as me entertaining myself. So he was actually a man with a high IQ and EQ. His childish behavior before was because he had never met someone he liked as much as he did, so he didn't know what to do. Now that he slowly got to know Su Yu, he realized that he understood everything, including his feelings for Huamin and Huamin's attitude toward him. Therefore, Su Yu's words left Huamin speechless for the first time. Huamin actually lost in a war of words between the two of them. You can reject someone who loves you, but you can't trample on someone's sincere heart. She had already made things very clear to Su Yu, but the fact that Su Yu could still say something like this showed that he knew better than she did. Why do you have to? Huamin turned his head away, not daring to look into Su Yu's eyes. He felt a little sad. I think I might have owed you in my past life. Su Yu's lips curled up slightly as his tall figure stood in front of the on-call desk. Just then, Huamin's phone rang. It was a video call invitation from Qin Chu. Huamin looked at Su Yu guiltily. Chapter 542. Su Yu immediately understood. Then, he turned around in disappointment. Huamin picked up the video call and saw that Qin Chu was still at work. Behind him was the office. Honey, are you hungry? I'm not hungry. I just ordered supper for you. It'll be here in about half an hour. Remember to eat it. Qin Chu gently reminded her. I've gained a lot of weight lately, and you're still feeding me? Are you trying to turn me into a pig? I'm not worried about you gaining weight. I'm worried about you losing weight. Just then, Qin Chu saw a cup of milk tea on Huamin's desk. It was from a luxurious restaurant in the city. With Huamin's personality, she probably wouldn't buy something so expensive, even if she was rich. However, Qin Chu didn't ask directly. Instead, he asked, Did Zhu Lingling visit you at the hospital? No, she's been flying these days. Oh, what's wrong? Nothing. You need to take care of yourself. I'll pick you up for breakfast tomorrow morning. Okay, you too. Don't tire yourself out. Huamin smiled happily and hung up. After hanging up the phone, Qin Shu's eyes darkened. That person didn't seem to have given up after losing to him. Assistant Yang, sir, what can I do for you? Assistant Yang immediately ran in. Does Imperial Star only invest in film and television? Is there anything else? No, as far as I know, Imperial Star is a giant in the film and television industry. They're very good at creating stars. Every year, they produce more than a dozen movies and more than 100 TV series. They're very powerful. Also, the president of Imperial Star, Su Yu, has a powerful background. You've probably heard of the Su Corporation's private bank, right? I have. Qin Shu nodded. That bank is the Su family's private property. They have assets all over the country, so you can say that the Su Corporation is Imperial Star's backing. As long as they have money, they can do the best in any industry. I'm sure you know that. Yes. Sir, are you planning to invest in film and television for GK as well? Yang suddenly realized something and asked. We can't rule out this possibility, Qin Shu said vaguely, as if he wasn't sure. He had thousands of ways to make money, so there was no need for him to invest in film and television. However, if Suyu continued to pester Huamin without knowing what was good for him, in that case, he had to think of a way to deal with him. After all, Suyu was too idle, which was not good. Inside room, Wei Liao and Qin Shu were drinking red wine on the sofa, while Tang Chuan was drinking water alone on the hospital bed. With a face full of grievance, she said, Hey, when can I be discharged? You can stay here for now. The two of us can still visit you every day. There's so many young nurses coming in and out every day. You're so lucky. Lucky my ass. Why don't you come back for a few days? Tang Chuan said in a huff. I just saw Huamin. Did you give him the milk tea? Wei Liao ignored Tang Chuan's protest and asked Qin Shu. Yes, women are all like this. You have to move her bit by bit and change her. That's the only way you have a chance. So you didn't say anything as he fiddled with his phone. No one could tell what he was thinking. Ever since he came back from the Gamble God, he seemed to have calmed down a lot and wasn't as arrogant as before. At least, that was the case when it came to targeting Huamin. However, no one knew that he had fallen deeper. He was envious of Huamin's desire to protect Qin Shu. If only there was a woman who was loyal to him, not because of money, not because of his looks, not because of his status. Then, he would have no regrets in his life. He regretted it now. Why did he join the army in the first place? If he had gone a second high, maybe the legend of Qin Shu and Huamin wouldn't have existed. 1 a.m. Huamin was so sleepy that he fell asleep at the on-call desk. Suyu slowly walked over, and a young nurse was about to say something. Su? Suyu made a shushing gesture, and she immediately shut her mouth. Then, the young nurse saw Suyu do something unspeakable to Huamin. Chapter 543. He picked up a black ballpoint pen from the pen holder and carefully drew on Huamin's face. He drew 3 lines on each side, giving Huamin a cute pair of big mustaches. The nurse couldn't help but want to laugh, but she didn't dare to, so she covered her mouth tightly. After he finished, Suyu still wasn't satisfied, so he added a finishing touch and drew a king on Huamin's forehead. He looked like a cute little tiger with blood all over his face. This time, Suyu was very satisfied. He carefully took out his phone and turned it to silent mode. Then, with a click, he took a photo of Huamin. Not counting the photo at the charity event, this was the second photo of Huamin alone. He believed that even Qin Shu didn't have a collector's edition of this photo. After the prank, Suyu took out 1,000 yuan and threw it to the nurse. He didn't know if it was hush money or money for helping the tyrant. Then, he drove away in his black Lamborghini. He didn't feel the slightest bit of heartache when he lost Louis XIV on the Gamble God ship. Today, because of a photo, he was as happy as a child. Suyu suddenly realized that Huamin had become an indispensable part of his life. Look at this. He took out his phone and handed it to Wei Liao, who was sitting in the front passenger seat. Uffed. Ha ha. So cute. Did you do this? Yup. Suyu nodded proudly. When she wakes up, she'll be mad, right? Will she come after you? I hope she does. That way, I'll have another chance to see her. Suyu was in a good mood. At this time, Wei Liao suddenly said, Oh, I'm sorry, my hand slipped and I deleted it. With a screech, Suyu stepped on the brakes and stopped the car by the side of the road then, without another word. He grabbed Wei Liao's neck. Haha. I'm just kidding. Don't pinch me, it hurts. Wei Liao wasn't afraid of death. He actually dared to joke around with Suyu. God knows how much Suyu treasure Hua means photos. I heard that Huamin had a nickname when she was in school. She was called Goddess Hua. So what? Suyu asked. This is my understanding of a goddess. Originally, there was no goddess in this world. There were many people who wanted to sleep with her. So she became a goddess. So, in the end, you just want to sleep with Huamin, right? Of course I want to sleep with her, but I have to make sure that she can fall in love with me. What if Huamin doesn't love you for the rest of her life? Wei Liao poured a bucket of cold water on Suyu. That's impossible. I'm so handsome and suave. Suyu couldn't continue as he spoke. Then I'll wait for her to fall in love with me. As long as I'm alive, there's always hope, right? Wei Liao rarely saw Suyu so pessimistic. It seemed like Huamin had become an obsession in his heart. Hey, don't make it sound so sad. I think there's still hope for you. I'll wait for the day Huamin and Qin Shu get divorced. I'll wait for the day Huamin cheats on you, or the day she marries you after getting divorced. Haha. Wei Liao smiled and comforted Suyu. Then, the two of them drove away. Huamin might have been too tired yesterday because she didn't sleep well at Dong Taozhen's motel, so she fell asleep during her shift. After sleeping for about an hour, she suddenly got up. What's wrong, nurse? What's wrong? Did I oversleep? No, you slept for less than an hour. I saw that you were too tired, so I didn't wake you up, the nurse said quietly. Huamin got up and was about to leave, but the nurse stopped her. Nurse, I think you should wash your face first. What's wrong with my face? Huamin was confused. The nurse didn't say anything. She held up a small mirror in front of Huamin, and when she looked at herself, she was dumbfounded. Chapter 544. What happened? Huamin was dumbfounded. She only slept for one night. How did she end up like this? Head nurse, I'm sorry, I don't dare to tell you. I'm scared. Looking at the nurse's hesitant expression, Huamin knew who did it, even with her eyes closed. So you wait. Huamin immediately rushed into the bathroom and washed her face. When she came out, it was almost dawn. She was still thinking about where to have breakfast with Qin Shu. However, an uninvited guest showed up. A black Porsche 918 was parked in front of the hospital. Huasi, who she hadn't seen in a while, came at 4 a.m. in the morning. He was wearing a black jacket, his hair was cut short, and his skin was much darker. It seemed like Huasiqian's transfer order made him suffer a lot in the Philippines. Huamin, he said coldly. What do you want? Huamin always spoke in a formal tone. I'm here on father's orders to take you back. So early? Dad had a relapse last night, so he tossed and turned for half the night. I called you, but you didn't pick up, so I had no choice but to come find you. Huamin did see the Hua family call last night, but she didn't pick up. Huasi knew that nothing good would come from looking for her in the middle of the night. It turned out that Hua Zhenghai had a relapse. Is it serious? Which hospital is he at? He's not at the hospital. He's resting at home. He misses you a lot. You should be off work soon, right? Can you come home with me? Huamin looked into Huasi's eyes. He didn't look sly at all, so it probably wasn't a trap. Plus, Shun Jiani needed her help right now, so she probably wouldn't do anything to her. After making sure that she wasn't in danger, Huamin packed her things and followed Huasi to the Hua mansion. It was already 6 a.m. when they arrived at the Hua mansion, and breakfast had just begun. Everyone was sitting around, but Hui Yinyan was nowhere to be seen. Where's Yinyan? Hua Zhenghai asked. Oh, the child hasn't woken up yet. She rarely wakes up so early. Let her sleep a little longer. Shinjiani smiled. Did you not wake up? But did you not come back last night? Huasiqian played with a boiled egg on the table. Shinjiani's expression changed slightly recently. Hui Yinyan had been leaving early and returning late. Most of the time, she didn't even come home. Instead, she hung out with a bunch of bad friends. No matter how many times Shun Jiani said that she was hungry, she refused to listen. She couldn't care less. Mian, how's work been? Hua Zhenghai asked, seemingly concerned. She changed the topic about Huiyan. I'm fine. I've always been like that. Hua Min replied indifferently. You've always been in charge of your brother's fund, right? Hua Zhenghai asked again. Yes, I've always been in charge of it. Hua Min nodded. I've looked at the fund's accounts. There's no problem at all. You've done a great job. With you taking care of your brother's fund, he doesn't have to worry so much. Hua Zhenghai rarely praised Hua Min. However, she didn't look happy at all. It's what I should do. Hua Min's tone was indifferent. Jiang Hong smiled and put down the milk in her hand. Xiqian's fund is very successful. All the major media outlets have reported on it, and many city leaders are paying attention to it. The provincial government even exempted the Hua Corporation from paying taxes for a year. All in all, we've profited. I told you that Xiqian is the best at saving money for his father. Chapter 545. Mom, I just want to help share some of Dad's workload. Hua Xiqian and Jiang Hong sang the same tune. They were a great team. Hua Zhenghai could only nod. Xiqian has always done things with a sense of propriety. Now that Mian is back, I have another helper. You siblings must work together from now on. See, you should learn from Sister Mian. Dad, what can I learn from her? She's not as educated as I am, and her salary isn't as high as mine. She's only a nurse, so what can you learn from her? I'm so confused. Hua Si and Hua Yin looked down on Hua Min from the bottom of their hearts. They were born with a sense of superiority because of the huge gap between them. Hua Min didn't want to argue with him because Hua Si was a brainless guy. Arguing with him was like arguing with a dog. It was completely meaningless. However, Hua Xiqian didn't seem to tolerate his words, so he questioned, See, even if that's the case, Mian has been busy ever since she took over the Golden Foundation, and she hasn't made a single mistake. On the other hand, the project you were in charge of in the Philippines wasn't even half of the Golden Foundation's funds, but you made a mess there. You didn't make friends with the local government, and you even offended a lot of local triads. We're businessmen, and we don't care about education or profession. We care about profit and ability, and that's exactly what you lack. Dad has his reasons for asking you to learn from Mian. Is it really okay for you to argue like that? Hua Xiqian had been arguing with Hua Si ever since he came back, so he was very angry. Shun Jiani saw this and immediately stopped her son. See, your older brother is right. You're the youngest in the family, so you have to learn from your brothers and sisters. Yes, I know, Mom. Although Hua Si was unhappy, he didn't dare to talk back to his mother. His breakfast was tasteless. Hua Mi knew that these people were all wearing masks, and when they took off their masks, they revealed different faces. Hua Min didn't look like he had anything to do with Hua Zhenghai. He only asked Hua Min to come back for Jiang Hong and the others to see. It was as if Jiang Hong and Hua Xiqian were using Hua Min as a shield to deal with Hua Min. That way, they wouldn't have time to deal with Hua Yin and Hua Si. This was Hua Zhenghai and Shun Jiani's goal. Before she left, Hua Zhenghai pretended to take out a brocade box. Mian, I heard that you just celebrated your 24th birthday. Daddy bought this for you. No need. My birthday is over. Hua Min refused to accept the gift. Hua Zhenghai opened the brocade box. Inside was a pearl necklace. The quality was decent, but it wasn't too expensive. At most, it was 10 or 20,000 yuan. This was nothing compared to Hua Xiqian and Su Yu's, much less Qin Shu's 400 million yuan mansion. Mian, Daddy gave this to you. Take it. Hua Xiqian handed the brocade box to Hua Min as he spoke. He meant that it would be a waste if he didn't take it. Hua Min was conflicted, but he still took it. After all, if he kept rejecting it, it would seem too distant, and it would be difficult for him to carry out his revenge plan in the future. See, drive your sister home. Me? Hua Si didn't seem very satisfied. No need, I'll take a taxi. Hua Si didn't want to reveal too much of her wealth, so she didn't drive an Audi sports car. See, what are you waiting for? Daddy asked you to drive her, so just go. She's your sister. Shun Jiani purposely emphasized the word sister. Hua Si reluctantly followed Hua Min out the door in the study room on the top floor of the whole manor. Zhenghai, did you tell her about GK helping us? Shinjiani asked impatiently as soon as Huamin left. Chapter 546. Not yet. She's too smart. I don't want to alert her, so I want to talk to her first. Once I gain her trust, it won't be too late to bring it up. Since Qin Chu married her, it means that he cares about her a lot. With her as his trump card, he won't have to be afraid of Hua Xiqian. Using Huamin to use GK to deal with Hua Xiqian was Hua Zhenghai's latest plan. In the car, Huamin originally wanted Hua Xi to drive her to the downtown mall so she could buy some daily necessities. However, on the way there, she suddenly saw a familiar figure. Stop the car. Huamin suddenly yelled. Oh, isn't that your half-brother, Jing Zixin? Hua Xi mocked. Zixin just sent Huamin a WeChat message yesterday, saying that he had class today. So why was he in the city center? The car slowly stopped on the side of the road. Before Huamin could get out of the car, she saw a girl walking towards Zixin. She was wearing a cute dress. Her hair was slightly curly, and she looked very sweet and cute. Wasn't that Huang Yu? Huamin's expression became complicated. As expected, she was right. Hua Xi seemed to have noticed as well. He narrowed his eyes and said, I didn't expect that kid to be so good at picking up girls. That girl looks a bit like Takizawa Laura. Hua Xi, you're so disgusting. He was young, but his mouth was full of dirty words. Huamin thought that the son that Shenjiani spent a lot of money on was useless. He had no manners at all. How am I disgusting? I'm not as disgusting as Jing Zixin. He's just a student. Instead of going to school, he's trying to pick up girls. What right does he have? Does he earn money? He's using your allowance to pretend to be a rich guy and pick up girls, right? Shut the hell up. Why should I shut up? I'm going to say it. Poor people like you are the worst. My mom said that you're all scheming bitches. You came back to help because you want my dad's money. Otherwise, are you trying to imitate Lei Feng? Also, I'm telling you, I've never liked that brat Jing Zixin. Tell him to keep an eye on that woman. Otherwise, if she ends up in my bed one day, don't blame me for not giving you face. But you better not interfere. After all, I'm your little brother, ha. Hua Xi, if you dare to steal the person Zixin likes, I won't let you get away with it. Huamin warned him coldly, huh? That's why you have to make sure that silly boy keeps a close eye on you. Also, you have such a silly little brother. You really have enough to worry about, don't you? Huamin got out of the car with a dark expression and slammed the door shut. Hua Xi pressed the horn twice in a provocative manner before leaving because of the special relationship between Huamin and the Hua family. They had met when they were very young. Hua Xi wasn't much older than Jing Zixin, so he was always picking on him. It was just like how Hua Yinyan always looked down on Huamin. When they were little, she always tried to steal Zixin's toys and even got people to surround him. However, after being taught a lesson by Huamin, Hua Xi changed a lot. However, Hua Xi still looked down on Jing Zixin, who was born poor. Jing Zixin and Huang Yu were supposed to watch a movie, go shopping, and eat together today. However, they didn't expect to run into his sister as soon as they met. Sis, why are you here? Jing Zixin was caught off guard. Huang Yu was also scared out of her wits. She quickly backed away. Senior sister, you two come with me. Huamin's expression was serious as he brought them to a nearby coffee shop. Sis, I'm sorry. Inside the coffee shop, before Huamin could say anything, Jing Zixin apologized first. Chapter 547. You don't have to apologize to me. You didn't do anything wrong, Huamin said coldly. Sis, I didn't mean to hide it from you. Zixin lowered his head, knowing that he was in the wrong. Mian, if you want to scold me, then scold me. I was the one who pursued Zixin first. I've had a crush on him for a long time. I've been paying attention to him since the first time he came to the hospital to see you. Then, I secretly added him on WeChat, and we got together. I don't want to scold either of you. You're both grown up, not children. You have the right to make your own decisions, but I hope you can think about this rationally. The reason why I don't approve of you guys dating so early is because you're still young and uncertain, and your futures are still uncertain. Secondly, I know you two too well. You're both naive and pure. If your relationship doesn't go well, it'll be a fatal blow to both of you. It's very dangerous for two inexperienced people to be together because they don't know how to take care of each other's emotions. Sis, didn't you and Shin Shu shut up? Our situation is different, Ji-shin. I'm not against you. I'm just doing it for your own good. Sis, but we truly love each other. I won't betray you. Jing Ji-shin was an extremely naive child. Many girls in college tried to be nice to him, but he didn't like any of them. Instead, he fell in love with Huang Yu, who was 2 years older than him. This was an ill-fated relationship. Mian, I truly like Ji-shin too. Please give us a chance. I won't let you down. Don't worry. I'm earning my own money, so I won't let Ji-shin spend any money. Huang Yu was naive and thought that Huamin was against it because Ji-shin was a child and didn't want to spend too much money on a relationship. Huamin sighed slightly. It's not about money. I told you that I'm worried about it, and there's nothing you can do if you don't understand. But don't worry, I won't break you guys up. I'm not an unreasonable person. If you guys really like each other, then be together. Really? Jing Ji-shin was pleasantly surprised. Thank you, senior sister. But I'm going to say this up front. If one day something happens to your relationship and you're heartbroken, don't come to me because I've already given you a heads up. That's not a problem, I promise. Sis, I promise to treat you wholeheartedly. Jing Ji-shin was very happy. Thank you, senior sister. Huang Yu held on to Jing Ji-shin's arm tightly. Huamin wanted to treat them to a meal, but when he saw how lovey-dovey they were, it was obvious that they were in love. Therefore, she didn't want to be a third wheel, so she returned home to Imperial Park. Qin Chu wasn't home. They were supposed to have breakfast together, but Huamin went to the Hua family mansion. She sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu, but Qin Chu didn't come back. Instead, he went to work at GK. Huamin went home to catch up on some sleep. When she woke up, it was already 3:30 p.m. She rummaged through the fridge, but there was nothing left to eat. She made some sushi and had a simple bite with some soy sauce soup. While eating the sushi, she suddenly thought of a problem. Then, she smiled mysteriously and made another set of sushi to bring to the hospital. As expected, Su Yu and Wei Liao came to visit Tang Chuan at around 6 p.m. They were playing cards out of boredom. At dinner time, Su Yu came out to ask Huamin what he wanted to eat. However, he saw that Huamin was eating sushi, so he didn't say anything and immediately put one in his mouth. The gangster's personality was completely exposed. Chapter 548. Hey, what are you doing? You wouldn't give it to me even if I asked you for it, so I might as well take it from you, Su Yu said as he chewed. He didn't look like a rich young master at all. Su Yu, did you draw a cat on my face yesterday? No. That's impossible. Huamin obviously didn't believe him. I clearly drew a tiger on your face, okay? Didn't you see the king character on your forehead? Su Yu argued. Huamin, she originally thought that Su Yu was going to deny the fact that he drew on her face, but it seemed like she was overthinking it. He was correcting her that he drew a tiger on her face, not a cat. Su Yu, you sure have a lot of free time. Doesn't Imperial Star have any movies to shoot? Huamin asked in annoyance. Yeah, but I don't care about that. I only have a vice president, and he takes care of everything for me. It's called efficiency. Pfft, I think you're just messing around. We're going to order. What do you want to eat? I'll bring you some. It's okay, I'm full. Then, Huamin got up and handed the rest of the sushi to Su Yu. I made too much today. You can have a rest. Su Yu was a bit flattered. However, he didn't dare to take the sushi. Instead, he asked confusedly, why are you being so nice? It's fine if you don't want it. I'll just throw it in the trash can. Then, Huamin pretended to take it away. No, I want it. Su Yu snatched it over and happily took the sushi back to his room. Huamin smiled triumphantly. Let's wait for a good show. After Su Yu took the sushi back to his room, Su Yu, you guys go ahead and order. You don't have to bring mine. Wei Liao, what's going on? Where did the sushi come from? Tang Chuan. He probably stole it from Huamin. Otherwise, why would he be so happy? Su Yu, she didn't snatch it. Let me correct you. She gave it to me. Wei Liao, give? She didn't believe it. Could be her leftovers? Suyu, don't say that the grapes are sour just because you can't eat them. There's a whole box, and the only one missing was eaten by me just now. How could it be leftovers? She must have given it to me. Wei Liao, that's weird. Is there arsenic in the sushi? Tang Chuan, great minds think alike. Suyu, arsenic aside, as long as it's from her, I'll take it even if it's an aphrodisiac. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan were overjoyed. It looked like Lord Su was possessed. Then, the two of them ordered a sumptuous meal at Fengyu restaurant. Suyu, on the other hand, curled up on the sofa and took small bites of the original sushi. Half an hour later, no, I have to go to the bathroom. After saying that, Suyu got up and ran away. He's already gone to the bathroom 6 times in 10 minutes. Sushi really isn't that good. Luckily, I held back. Wei Liao sighed. Tang Chuan laughed and said, I told you that woman wasn't that kind. See? Just as Suyu was about to go to the bathroom for the 7th time, Tang Chuan stopped him. I say, did you do something wrong to her? As far as I know, although Huamin is powerful, there's no reason for him to kill you. Suyu was silent. Wei Liao laughed and said, Does drawing a tiger count? What tiger? Did I miss something? Tang Chuan looked confused. So, Wei Liao told him about how Suyu drew a tiger for her last night. Tang Chuan saw the photo and laughed out loud. The two of them couldn't stop laughing while Suyu ran to the bathroom. He didn't expect Huamin to put laxatives in the sushi. Just then, Huamin pushed open the door. Tang Chuan immediately stopped laughing and said, Hello, head nurse. In the past few days, he had figured out Huamin's personality and decided not to go against her. This is the antidote. Give it to him, Huamin said slowly as she threw a small bag to Wei Liao. Then, help me pass a message to him. What message? Wei Liao asked excitedly. Chapter 549. Next time, don't offend women for no reason, especially women who know how to concoct poisons. After that, Huamin walked away coolly. Tang Chuan, is that a threat? Wei Liao, forget it. What she meant was that if she gave you laxatives this time, who knows what kind of poison she'll put in you next time. When Suyu ran back from the bathroom, Wei Liao put the antidote on the ground and gave him Huamin's original words. Suyu remained silent. Lord Su, what's that saying again? A woman's heart is the most poisonous. Think about martial arts universities and Pan Jinlian. Tang Chuan gloated. Fuck you, do you know how to talk? Suyu scolded. Wei Liao glared at Tang Chuan. That's right. You don't know how to talk. Our Lord Su is so tall, strong, rich, and handsome. How can he be from a martial arts university? At most, he's Westgate big official. Suyu, come here, you two. I'll take good care of you. Suyu beckoned with his finger, scaring Wei Liao into hiding on Tang Chuan's bed. Don't, Lord Su. If you're angry, don't take it out on us. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. If you want to take it out on someone, take it out on Huamin. Tang Chuan giggled. Suyu clutched the bag of antidote tightly. He was both angry and amused. Don't worry, she won't run away. That brat dared to trick me. I won't let her go. After teaching Suyu a lesson, he finally got his revenge. He unintentionally opened Weibo, which he had not logged in for a long time, and received a private message. The first one was a photo of her being drawn as a tiger. It was as embarrassing as it could get. There was also a message from Suyu. Recently, we have a Bengal tiger at home. It looks good, but has a fiery temper and is very fierce. Please advise me on how to tame it. Suyu was clearly provoking him, holding her photo and asking her how to tame her. There was no SCI left. Huamin thought for a few seconds and finally replied, How was the sushi tonight? When Suyu thought of sushi, he immediately ran to the toilet again. It had already become a conditioned reflex. Huamin was too lazy to talk nonsense with Suyu. He logged out of Weibo and logged into WeChat. She saw that Jixin and Huangyu had posted a photo together, and there were only 2 words, us. Then, there was a group photo below. It looked like both of them were smiling sweetly, Wasn't this method of announcing their relationship imitating the two A-list celebrities who announced their relationship last year? This method was really unsophisticated. Fortunately, Huamin reluctantly agreed to their relationship. It couldn't be said reluctantly. It could only be said that he tried to persuade them to no avail. Therefore, there was no other way. Huang Yu and Jing Zhixin no longer hid their relationship because their sister knew the truth. They decided to openly date. Zhu Lingling was in Jing Zhixin's WeChat, so when Zhu Lingling got off the plane, she saw it immediately. She immediately sent a WeChat message to Huamin. Zhixin is in love. Yeah, damn. Are you giving us a way out? He's born in 1995, okay? He's not even 20. What's the rush? Zhu Lingling clamored. Does age have anything to do with this day? An age? Didn't you see the joke a while ago? What joke? Zhu Lingling was confused. At the entrance of kindergarten, a little boy said to a little girl, I have a lollipop. Do you want a bite? The little girl said, I don't want it. I'm afraid of getting pregnant. The little boy said, if I get pregnant, I'll give birth to it. At worst, the three of us can go to kindergarten together. Ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. Zhu Lingling laughed hysterically. Huamin, on the other hand, said with a serious face, that's the most responsible thing I've ever heard. Even children know what love is, yet you, an adult, are still hesitating. I see that you treat Gao Ran pretty well. Why don't you two make do? Chapter 550. What makes you think I'm nice to him? Seriously, Zhu Lingling refused to admit it. Lingling, what's wrong? How should I put it? Jokes aside, as your best friend, I have a piece of advice for you. Huamin said seriously. What is it? Zhu Lingling immediately replied. Huamian continued. In a person's life, not everyone can meet someone they both like and love at the same time. If you meet someone like that and hesitate for some reason and end up missing him, that would be such a pity. If you accept this relationship calmly, even if you don't end up together in the future, you won't regret it because you've already experienced it. When a person grows old, the scariest thing isn't that I once regretted being with someone, but rather, why didn't I try being with someone? Huamin. Zhu Lingling suddenly didn't know what to say when she saw how serious Huamin was. Lingling, I'm not trying to persuade you to be with Gao Ran. I just want to say that if you like him and he likes you, why don't you give it a try? Life is neither long nor short. Some people and some things, once you miss them, you'll be with them forever. Do you still remember Lu Ruoying's song later when we were in high school? Do you still remember my favorite line from that song? Zhu Lingling was slightly moved. Her voice trembled as she replied, Later, I finally learned how to love. Unfortunately, you were long gone and disappeared into the sea of people. Later, in my tears, I finally understood that some people will never be there again once they're missed. So I won't interfere too much in your life. I just don't want you to have any regrets when you grow old. I know. Okay, let's talk later. I'm going to pack up and get off work. I'm sleepy. Drive carefully. Okay. Huamin hung up the phone and stood up tiredly. He took off his white coat and put on his windbreaker. Then he grabbed his bag and walked out of the hospital. As soon as he walked out, he was shocked by the parking lot outside. The parking space, which was originally quite good, was now surrounded by a lot of random cars. Moreover, they didn't follow the rules and blocked Huamin's car. Even an immortal wouldn't be able to get out of here. Unless the car had wings, it was possible for it to fly out. Huamin angrily walked to the front of the supercar behind his car. It was a fiery red Ferrari. Huamin didn't know much about luxury cars, so he didn't know which model it was. She only saw that this Ferrari was seriously blocking her way of reversing. However, she suddenly noticed that there was a small card at the back of the car with the owner's phone number written on it. It seemed that the car owner still had some conscience and even knew to leave his phone number. Huamin angrily picked up his phone and dialed the number. Hello, your car is blocking my car. I need to reverse quickly. Please come out and cooperate with me. No one spoke on the other end of the line. After Huamin finished speaking, he hung up the phone. 5 minutes later, a tall and thin man walked out. He was wearing a mask and looked haggard. You called? The man asked coldly. Yes. Huamin nodded. I'll move the car out of the way. You can reverse. Thank you. Huamin then got into the car. Just as she was reversing the car, she turned around and got a shock. A group of young ladies came out of nowhere and surrounded him in no time. Screams sounded everywhere. Huamin finally realized that the person just now was the most popular male idol singer, an Yang. Seeing that the other party was surrounded by fans because he was reversing the car, Huamin felt a little bad. She thought for a moment, then picked up her phone and dialed the number from before. Hello? The person picked up the phone. His voice was still as cold as ever. I have a way to get you out. Do you need it? Huamin asked. Chapter 551. Go ahead. I'm going to reverse the car. Immediately get out of the car and get into my car. Your car is in a bad spot, so you won't be able to get out. Of course, that's if you trust me. The person on the other end was silent for 5 seconds before replying with a single word. Okay. Huamin stepped on the accelerator and the car roared to life. The crazy fans were so scared that they quickly backed away. Huamin turned the steering wheel again and reversed the car, approaching the red Ferrari. At the closest distance, she slowly stopped the car. The owner of the car quickly got out of the car and got into her car. The entire process took less than 10 seconds. It was so fast that no one had time to react. By the time the fans realized what was going on and chased after them, Huamin stepped on the gas, and the car was already out of sight. After driving for about 10 minutes, an Yang turned around. After confirming that there were no fans or reporters, he finally let out a sigh of relief. Thank you. You're welcome. You only got surrounded because you got out of the car to give up your seat for me, Huamin said calmly. An Yang glanced at her and didn't say anything. Then, he took off his mask, revealing his haggard face. Huamin wasn't a fan of celebrities, but she recognized an Yang. After all, he was such a famous celebrity. Apparently, he debuted 5 years ago. After his debut, he released 3 albums in one go. In this era where albums were dying, it was a miracle that he could sell more than 1 million copies in 3 days. Moreover, his solo concerts were only held once a year, so they were extremely precious. Therefore, the ticket prices were inflated to over 10,000 yuan per concert. The price was ridiculous and left people speechless. There were many rumors about him. Some said that he was supported by a rich woman, which was why he became so popular. Some said that he was the illegitimate son of a rich man, which was why he had financial support. Some even said that he was gay and that a famous director in the gay industry took a liking to him, which was why he became a first-rate superstar. In short, no matter what, this person was famous, completely famous. Apparently, he was about to leave his old company, Imagination Corporation. Rumor had it that Imperial Star offered 120 million yuan to sign him. However, no one knew who exactly he was going to. He was a very strange person. It was said that he did not like interviews or reality shows. He was always so mysterious. Therefore, more and more people liked him, and more people were curious about him. There were even some crazy fans who often waited at the entrance of his company or his residence, chasing after him. However, his agent had always been good at keeping secrets. Therefore, there had been no trouble so far as an employee of Southside. Huamin had no idea that he had come Southside. Where are you going? I'll drive you there, Huamin asked. Southside Recuperation Center. He was a man of few words. Do you still want to go back? Yes. Seeing how insistent he was, Huamin had no choice but to drive the car back to where it belonged. Huamin let out a sigh of relief when he saw that the fans were nowhere to be seen. Thank you, he said lightly before getting out of the car. Then he got out of the car and left. A woman at the door looked around in a panic. When she saw an Yang, she immediately walked forward. Sister Ingzi, oh my God, where did you go? I was surrounded by fans outside the door. Luckily, someone saved me. Oh my God, are you okay? Let me take a look. The woman was shocked. I'm fine, I'm not hurt. I went out to buy breakfast, but you ruined it. Didn't I tell you not to go downstairs? I remember, it won't happen again. If he didn't receive that phone call, he wouldn't have rushed downstairs. However, when he parked his car, he knew that he was blocking someone's way. Otherwise, why would he leave his phone number? When Sister Ingzi found out that he left a note, she was furious. Don't do that again. You're an idol. How can you leave your phone number like a normal person? What if your identity is exposed? And that woman, what if she finds out about your phone number and calls you every day? Sister Ingzi, don't think so badly of people. And Aiyong didn't seem to agree with his agent. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.